Okay, so everyone should have the notice now. Yeah, we are live, and everything you say at this point will be on the public
Held
record
against us?
forever. Yeah.
Right.
Well, potentially, yeah. I mean, you do have the
You
right
should-
to remain silent, but then
You
why
should
would you be here?
Mirandize your folks before they come on your show.
Hello, my name is Kerry Arthur.
There we go. I just had to mute my. I had the stream up too, just so I could see it worked. I had to mute myself, but yeah, I always do that anyway before anybody comes on, just because sometimes unless you're looking, it's hard to tell it actually went live. So
Right.
Yeah.
I just got to warn everybody. I know I've heard some spicy discussion a few times, before it went live and after shows. Like, yeah, you don't want that accidentally being live. I mean, it would be funny, but
yeah, let's hear about Scott's fetishes.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Well, when Wenger was on, we were
sexy party, man.
it could become that way. I mean, Wenger was on talking about inflation, so anything can happen.
I fucking hate inflation.
Wenger's hilarious.
What was it? Oh, Wenger, yeah, he was. That was a good time, man. So yeah, actually, before we get into the individual projects, you guys, you want to resume that discussion from earlier, just real quick, because I'm sure I know there's a lot of people in my own audience who've been saying they'd want to make their own stuff too. So it'd probably be pretty interesting to know at what point you actually start turning in a profit, even for comic books. So.
Yeah, well, it all varies. I mean, I've had, this is my 5th campaign now. Yeah, the first one that I did, no one knew who I was. I didn't know that it was Twitter and YouTube that you get, most of your backing from, because I had other social media that was, I had a good number on them, but those people weren't buying. And then I found out the hard way that it's Twitter and YouTube. So yeah, my initial run, because I had 3 single issues that I did right out of the gate for Through the Woods. And yeah, I only did like 3,300 on it. So I ended up going into pocket to actually, to finish off fulfilling all my backers. And I did it immediately too. So I think I started to build kind of reputation from that. So like each campaign was doing a little bit better. My breakout would have been City of Venus, which is actually still in demand. Yeah, I just shipped out even more from that today. And yeah, one of my tiers sold out. But a lot of people were asking, "What's this Through the Woods?" Because they would click my name and check out my other campaigns. And I said, "Yeah, this is my ghost story that I was like very proud of, but no one knew who I was." So as I was building a reputation and a name for in CG and this great community, yeah, I said, yeah, I'm going to put all this together and I'll re-release it. And that's what I did. So I had a pretty good stretch goal on this one, and we met it very quickly. Yeah, within the first week and a half. So I unlocked the oversized edition and hardcover. So now anyone who backed the graphic novel on this project, yeah, they're getting a really amazing book.
All right, yeah, and that's also another good thing to do, I guess. I mean, since you already had the work done, or at least the artwork, the writing, you had to reprint it again because you printed the collection, but all those other expenses have already been taken care of.
Yeah, well, I did a new piece for it, which is the cover. I went through my other files and stuff too, and try to see what else I could put into the book. So yeah, this thing is going to be 98 pages. Yeah, almost 100 pages. It's going to be close to 9 by 12 inches. So it's more of like a European format.
It's a bigger book.
Yeah, it's a bigger book too. So like, yeah, that's why like I'm only going to start to see profit now that I hit 15K. But again, because it's very pricey to do. But I wanted to make sure like if I'm redoing this campaign, I want to have the best possible version of this book, and that's what I'm going for. For everybody.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's actually kind of the same thing we were considering or we're gonna do is just more of a European style, larger book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna limit, for just of all things, what we can use to mail it in, because we can't use the traditional comic book mailers because they don't really fit anything bigger. Yeah. But they do make mailers of that same type.
Yeah, I actually I found it on Amazon. Yeah, it's about an inch thick and like a little bit over 9, maybe like a 9.25 or 9.5 by like 12 or 12.5. It fits perfect in there. Some bubble wrap. I tested it out already because I have a proof copy. And the proof copy is gorgeous. Oh my God. You guys are going to love it.
Oh man! So actually, chat's bringing up something pretty funny right now. So this is probably not your guys' area of expertise, but have you heard what's going on with the whole Project Melody situation?
No clue.
Oh
yeah,
man! Oh, you guys are gonna love that. So you know the site's ChatterBait, which is basically where all the cam whores are.
Okay.
Yeah. So somebody commissioned a 3D like just big titty anime girl model, and they just rig it up to some motion capture and whatever, and they were streaming on ChatterBait as the 3D model, and pretty much day one started outperforming everybody else on the site. So they are just so salty right now. That is hilarious.
That is funny. Oh my God.
Yeah, they're all mad too. I can't believe we have to compete with this, and I'm just like, no, shouldn't you be more concerned that you can't compete with a 3D model?
So is this like the cam girl version of the
conventions?
No. What are the
virtual YouTubers?
Yeah, the virtual YouTubers, and then they got the virtual pop stars, right, in Japan.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Yeah, it's a cam girl version of those, exactly.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, and they're just taking the whole. And I kind of figured, you guys, you launched your own comics, you're doing your own business, right? So now you kind of thinking these women should have looked at it from a business perspective. They, instead of getting mad and getting threatened, they should be, wow, now when I hit my 30s and everyone is leaving to go for all the 18-year-olds, I can, as long as I have my voice, I could just commission a model that looks somewhat like me and do the same thing.
So back in the, I can't remember how old you are, Vinny, but for me, I'm in my mid 40s, and back in the day, the joke was always the ladies on the phone sex lines were ugly housewives, but because they were living inside their head, they could be super sexy on the phone. This is the same thing. This is the internet version of the same thing.
Pretty much. I mean, I don't know. I think all this stuff is kind of hilarious. And I brought up conventions before because that's kind of what they did to the convention scene. The cosplay girls who also do that kind of stuff, right? They do the webcam stuff. They took over the conventions. They outperform even the celebrities at these conventions. So now I think it's hilarious. There's a CG model thing or whatever, computer generated image that's taking their money.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, no, and God, that was actually a really funny thing for a while because I mean, I know there's a lot of kickback against some of that. Like we talk about conventions. You got these cosplayers show up. They're not even fans. They don't know anything about the properties. They can just pull off the character. Now, I never really cared about that too much. Mostly because mostly because I'm like, they're only there as eye candy anyway. So I never really cared that much. But now I'm starting to realize how that was a bad idea because now that culture is taking over the entire thing.
Yep.
And now I'm realizing, like, shit, maybe it should have just been. Maybe we should have said something. Yeah.
There is some irony in the SJW kind of infection in comics goes antithetical to the whole like sexy cosplay thing.
I was about to say that exactly because I see it all the time. I've said it in the past, but yeah, it's that same exact thing, man. They're all vocal about it, and if you notice, a lot of them are also those cosplay girls who say that, that men are sexist and that, and they're making money off of them at these shows. I think it's hilarious.
They're sex positive, I mean, that's what the SJW version of slut.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is, and part of me thinks maybe it's just because of competition, but yeah, no. So I got I got a prime example of your art on screen right now, there, Vinny. So the chat's loving that.
Yeah, I'd love to chat with her. Axe and all.
Yeah, through the woods. Didn't you put the description in? I mean, the link in the description. It should be there.
And I posted it in the chat too. So
fantastic. Yeah. Again,
and where can they buy it, Vinny?
Yeah, it's Indiegogo. Yeah, I have some great options on there too. The tiers. I mean, starting out for $35, you're going to get this oversized hardcover book. I mean, yeah, it's because the fans unlocked it. Yeah. So yeah, anyone who's backing it now, that's what they're going to get. Since we hit 15K, we just unlocked the free bookmark, which is the image that you did show. So yeah, there's a lot of great stuff. For $40, you get it signed by the writer, which is my brother, and me, the artist. I did everything else on the book. Hand drawn, digitally painted. Yeah, it's a ton of work. A ton of work I put into this. I just put up a new tier for 2 copies. So that way, you give a little bit of a discount for people who wanted multiples. Because shipping, especially overseas, sometimes it could really get people.
You're not doing a digital version, right?
No, I refuse to do that stuff. My artwork has been stolen all over the place, thanks to DeviantArt and other stupid sites like that.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to happen anyway. Mm-hmm. I mean, even was it Ethan and your boy Zack? They didn't do it either, but their stuff's been pirated. Honestly, the way I see it is, if you don't do it, I mean, you're just making the pirates take one extra step to upload your book. But yeah, otherwise, maybe it's just different mindset from me. Just because when I was a broke teenager, I pirated the hell out of everything, and that's only because I couldn't afford it. If you would have stopped me from getting it, I would have just done without. And that's not a lost sale, really. So,
yeah. What's interesting is, I've pirated stuff too, but I don't know how many movies that I pirated that I then later bought the Blu-ray because I wanted to see it again, or I wanted the better quality, or something like that.
Yeah, if it's something you like, you want the best quality, absolutely. And I'm telling you, this is a huge collector's item. So that's why I didn't, digital. I never liked digital. I've been a fan. I'd rather have the book in hand. I know other people. I mean, if they want to do digital, that's cool. For me, I've never been that way.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I wasn't too big into digital either until my work started shipping me out everywhere. I'd rather just have it on my phone than carry a library with me at the airport. So.
Right.
But that's just one example, I guess.
The calculus for me, I mean, a lot of these are business decisions as much as they are personal or artistic choices. I mean, for me, the business decision was if I put a digital tier out there, that's that many more people, especially internationally, that would have access to my book. It's like, when they look at $25 book plus a $20 shipping, that might be the barrier, and then, so that's the only reason I did digital. But the thing I did with my digital is I made it, it's $25. It's the same price as a standard book. You just don't have to pay for shipping.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Well, we can actually, we'll get to that, real quick. But first, I mean, there's one more tier here that's still available if you want the original cover art. So I'm guessing this cover art was actually done new for this campaign. It wasn't it wasn't on the original release.
Right, because the originals, all the originals from the book I did in a sketch pad. So I'm not ripping up my sketch pad to sell pages like that. So this one was actually done on the 11x17 standard board. So it's fully inked, drawn and inked. So that's why it's so high. Like I have another campaign I'm going to be doing later in the year. It's a pirate story where I did a whole bunch of originals on 11x17. So the price is going to be lower on that stuff. It's only so high because there's only one, right? So out of the, that was actually printed on the book, because I have a tier that is a drawing tier. So like for $200, you'll get an original drawing inside of the hardcover book. Like on the inside of it. You could still get original artwork, but if you want something that was actually printed for the book, which it's the cover is the only thing that's available right now. The tier that did sell out was I still had like about 15 or 20 sets of the first print of the single and the floppy issues, so that sold out in a day.
Yep. Yeah. 15 of them. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, and they're all signed. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah. Just looking at the aspect ratio here too. Yeah, we're doing the same thing with ours. Yeah, we're making it bigger.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's no reason not to. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. Why not? The proof copy I have, it's jaw dropping. I mean, to see it, that extra detail, because I know what I put into it, and you can't really see it as clearly on the regular issue, but having it blown up like that, you can spot all the little surprises and things that I put in there. You know, every bit of detail. So well worth it.
Yeah, like the detail on that backstory right there, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. all the important bits, you know, all the folds in the hot pants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, man.
Attention to detail is Vinnie's watchword.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. I got some super chats here. So not a banned account. Thank you for the 2. Boomer RGE slept in through starting the stream. Oh man, if I wasn't going to be streaming today, I would have been sleeping probably. But nope, I can always I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'll have plenty of time for that then.
That's what I said. That's what I said yesterday, man. I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and then woke up at 4, right? Yeah,
pretty much.
Nice. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, back when I was in college, I was working full time and going to school full time. So some days I left at 6 in the morning and I came back at midnight, only to repeat the process again.
Yeah,
that was fun. And Jarnigi, thank you the 5. Like, mate, you're competing with Project Melody too. Oh yeah, I guess I know just because I'm streaming at the same time. Yeah, and Alex Halo, thank you the 2 again. Lost Pause's book is pirated, even though it's free. Well, no, in that case, I don't think it's just a matter of it being pirated. It's more that it's everything's gathered in one place, I guess. I mean, that's the advantage of a pirate site, I got to say. You know, you could have everything in one spot there. So even free things end up on pirate sites. Yeah, that is true. I did notice that. But yeah, I kind of figured, you know, I mean, there's the way I see it, you know, the audience who'd buy digital books, the people who are going to pirate it and not pay you anyway, and the people who want physical are all 3 separate groups anyway. I don't think there's really any overlap in them, or very little.
So I think there is overlap, but it's not like simultaneous overlap. It's incremental overlap. So for instance, the guy who ends up seeing, you know, a shared copy of the PDF that I end up sending out may decide he likes it and buys in later. You know, I see it as a marketing tool, especially like me. I mean, you know, nobody knows who I am. So it can't, you know, having my stuff out there, free or not, you know, a year after the book goes out of print, that can only help me.
Oh yeah, especially if it ever comes back.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And you know, if you guys, if anybody watches the EVS channel, I mean, you know, what he says, it's the Robert Kirkman school. You always keep the old stuff in print. You just repackage it for the new customers. I think that's very wise. And, you know, you gotta keep it out there so that, you know, people continue to, you know, are able to buy your product.
Yeah. Or like Vinny did, you know, have 3 campaigns in demand right now. Right. So yeah, you just leave it open and ship. But so
as long as you got copies, you know, there's no reason why you shouldn't.
Yeah, because I'm a little bit different than most other people. I really won't start a campaign until I'm like 90% done with my project, because everything is on my shoulders, right?
That is awesome. Yeah. No, I mean, we tried that with Blade Devil too, but it looks like we're only going to be like 50% done. But yeah, that's nothing. I want to let everybody know too that, you know, we've already been doing this out of pocket, so the book's going to come out. Really, how well the first book does just determines if we're going to do more. But if you back it, you're going to get it. And we're in the same. We're having the same problem that Scott is. Nobody really knows us, at least in this sphere. So I mean, I got Doorkickers up right now. So if nobody knows you, the only way you can sell yourself is, you know, by releasing quality product. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just a real, I'm sure your audience may not have encountered Doorkickers before. So it's a supernatural paramilitary organization, part of the military, part of the U.S. government. They specialize in taking down, you know, paranormal and otherworldly threats to both the U.S. and also the world at large. You know, the Cthulhu version of the WMD. So it's a real kind of military beats cosmic horror kind of vibe. I've been really lucky to work with some super talented artists. This is the first book in what is ultimately going to be a series. I've already got the script for the next 2 written. So it's just a matter of, kind of fitting them into my schedule, and my artist schedule. There's my alternate cover by Narwhal. It's freaking awesome. I just love, he's been all over the place lately. And, I just love the fact that everybody's finally catching up to what I knew a year ago, which was he's probably one of the most dynamic artists in Comicsgate. It looks like a panel of animation.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. I've been on so many drawing streams with him as well. He's a fun guy, really cool. So I'm happy to see him doing so well with his projects.
Absolutely. And
it's killer.
And the thing is he has such great eye for composition and just all the kind of stuff that a lot of artists, they're working, like a lot of artists are looking at Vinnie's drawing and then thinking, oh, well, the detail and the booty and things like that, that's what I got to work on. But, as Vinnie knows, because he's mastered it too, is if you don't have composition, then ultimately you're never going to get there.
Yeah.
And Narwhal has probably got some of the strongest composition of any artist in CG. So.
For sure, man. Because that's the thing. My background, it is in design, but it's also in storytelling. Because I used to work for Todd McFarlane. I was a lead designer at his toy company. I also did storyboards for film projects and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I know what it takes with design and storytelling. So I try to make things as clear as possible, because that's the one thing that you want in your work. Yeah, I have a shit ton of detail everywhere, but each page is super clear to read, super clean. You don't have to go as crazy with certain things, but when it calls for it, yeah, definitely you could put it in there. But because I know a lot of people, when they want to do a sequence or something, they just think, oh, I have to throw absolutely everything in there, and that's what's going to sell it. Wrong. The composition is what's the most powerful image you could create, and everything should be really kind of supporting characters to it, I guess, would be the best way of saying it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen it so many times when you got a really good artist and they created they kind of get stuck in thinking that they have to super detail everything in the background, for example. And then it gets to the point where you can barely see the character that's supposed to be the focus among all the super detailed background.
Yeah. You need a balance. You need a proper balance.
Yeah, you gotta at least have something that draws the reader's eye right to where it needs to be. Because otherwise, if I just see a jumbled mess, it all looks cool, but what am I supposed to be seeing in this? Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's not. It's the interesting thing is the comic art has to both simplify the story, so so that you're able to get it. It's not a movie. You have to have these snapshots, these keyframes, right? That takes the story point to point. But at the same time, you're simplifying it, but you have to have a lot going on in a single frame. So it's kind of like doing both at the same time. And that's why I have so much respect. I have a degree in art. Art is my background, but I don't do comics art. And I just have so much respect for the storytellers out there that just, took my breath away as a kid. I'm a child of the 80s comics, and some of the and by the time I got into the 90s, I cared more about girls than comics. So it was only the best that really drew me in during the 90s. And whether it was the Image guys or Frank Miller with Sin City or Matt Wagner with the Grindel books, there were just certain books that always sucked me in, and consistently it was good writing and good design.
Yeah, so it's all the timeless classics that are going to be remembered along the likes of current year Marvel, when everyone sits around eating for the whole book.
Right. Nobody's going to remember any of that crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all the same too. It's just generic coffee shop,
and that androgynous look that they have on everyone. They all look like refrigerators. No shape, no curves. They all have the same haircut now.
Approved body type. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And they all have the mental illness haircut.
When I first debuted my campaign, I had the first 6 pages included, finished, so people could see what they were going to be getting. And somebody said to me on one of the first streams I was on, I said, wow, there's more action in your first 5 pages than there is in the entire, any Marvel comic that just came out this month. And I was just like, I don't know, man. I don't read any of that crap.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, that's that is great. Yeah, and Marvel, oh man, they have the habit recently. I mean, they sometimes have a really good cover, and there's this awesome action scene, and then none of the characters participating in the action on the cover are actually in the book. It's all the side characters eating at a cafe or something, and that's
the worst. Talking about their,
Well, that's what it is. They're only selling the covers. That's why they have people like J. Scott Campbell. They'll pay them crazy amounts of money because they're only moving the cover. No one cares about the interior anymore.
Oh,
and
man.
Not just, well, the whole creative process there is garbage. I mean, I've told horror stories because I've been in the business as well. I've worked for all different companies, but yeah, it's a mess. And I've been saying it for years. They have to clean house at all these big companies. Otherwise, you're going to go under, and that's what's happening. They're going under.
Yeah, well, the problem is they can't clean house now because it's the people without talent that are running the show, and they know if they let talented people in, they're not going to be there for very long. So specifically, they'd rather sink the whole industry than lose it. But yeah, Vietz brings up a good point in the chat here, actually. That it's like the Squirrel Girl controversy in Japan. That was one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. In Japan, with manga, I think with very few exceptions, the cover art is pretty much identical to the interior art. It may be a little bit nicer and it's done in color, but otherwise it looks the same. So the whole alternate cover thing, cover artist and interior artist being different, that they don't really take to that, just in general, unless they're into American comics. But with Squirrel Girl, they had one of their better Japanese artists do like a really cute, sexy Squirrel Girl for the cover. And then everybody was so mad when they opened that book up and saw the interiors. And I could. Dude, that is like blatant false advertising in that case. Yeah,
that is so funny though, and I bet that sold like crazy.
Well, at least until the word of mouth started getting out. Yeah, then that probably put a stop to that real quick. No, you'd be better off just buying a poster of the awesome cover. That's all you need. The interiors, I'll forget about it. And actually, speaking of someone who has some good covers and interiors done by the same artist, so Drew, aka Mr. E, the creator of Captain Love, sends $2. RG's here chewing gum money. I backed both of these. Hey, awesome. So I did see Through the Woods jump by like $200 just recently. So that is great.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, no, that's really great. I didn't even give a pitch. we just talked a little bit about the artwork and the views.
I put some. I put the fan service on screen, and that's where everyone was gravitating to.
So I got a sexy girl in my book. Unfortunately, as you can see in the pinup, she's all covered up in gear, and half the time her face is going to be covered by night vision goggles.
Yeah. That's the second one on the bookmarks there.
Yeah. So that girl right there, her name is Jigna, and she's like Kelsey Shannon did that. I can actually put the original up of that if you want. You can share my screen. Actually,
yeah, sure, yeah. I'll
let me dig it out, and then I'll tell you a little bit about her. So she, it's 2020. We got to be diverse. So my attempt at diversity is an Indian female, Indian dot, not feathers, female, and she's a badass. I mean, she kind of has a background as a spy. She's a linguist, but she's magic because she can understand any language, any human language, and probably some that aren't, some non-human ones. All right, let me share my screen here.
So is that a little bit of a spoiler about the kind of stuff we may be encountering?
Yeah, absolutely. And some of these folks have got power, so...
Yeah, I mean, where was that? There was a little bit. Yeah, that dude right there looks like casting some spell or something.
Yeah. So here's Jigna. I'm sharing on my screen here, and this is art by Kelsey Shannon, and you guys know Kelsey. He's amazing, and
he likes pussy a lot.
Well, he does like pussy. That's right. Well, so he drew this image live on the Jack show, one of the early Jack shows, and so he's drawing this, and they've got it on the screen while they're talking. and he gets to the chest area, and Cecil's like, no, that's no good. Make them bigger. And it just came out so perfect. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better image. I mean, it's just, I've been really lucky. A lot of very talented artists have, kind of pitched in for things like this. And I think it really helps sell the book when people see it's kind of an endorsement by the members of the community. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing about her too, so what is it? Vitzerat says, she's not a Mary Sue. She's not a Mary Sue. She is the weakest member of the team. She got to where she paid her dues getting to where she is. Now, I don't have time to give everybody a boring origin story, but this is the girl that'll kick in doors. But at the same time, she knows she can't kick them in as good as the guys, and if anything, that might be kind of an issue coming up in a future story. So we'll have to explore that a little bit because, guys and girls are different.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I never understood about women. Like, they have this inferiority complex. They're comparing themselves to men. And I'm like, what? I don't get what your problem is. Like, yeah, even if men could do everything better than women, there's one thing you can do that no man can do, and that is manipulate every man in a mile radius to bow at your feet.
Imagine if you met this girl and she could speak any language in the world. In fact, not only could she speak any language in the world, but she could mimic your accent, and with just a little bit of kind of prior knowledge, she could cozy up to any man in the world. With no trouble at all.
Now, actually, this character looks like she'd be pretty great, mixed with some transformation magic. Spend a few minutes with someone, learn how to pretend to be them, and get a doppelganger going on. That would be nice.
There's all kinds of interesting things that she'll be able to do, and she's morally flexible. So not only will she put a bullet in your head, but she might sleep with you because she needs to, not because she wants you.
Hey, I guess you got to do what you got to do to get the job done, huh? Yeah.
So it's like the James Bond effect,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, it worked for him.
That's awesome. Amen. Oh, by the way, too, Kelsey Shannon, he actually did a piece for my campaign as well. The work campaign had a drawing stream, and they all were working on my characters. And Kelsey won, so I said, you know what? I'm going to put it in the book. So yeah, it's also on the campaigin. But all
right, now is it on your page anywhere?
Yeah.
Oh, I know another good backstory shot. Yeah, that's good.
Fantastic one. Well, that's what that Renfamous clown was doing. She went on my campaign since mine was the first one of the year, and she tried to attack it. Yeah, right there's Kelsey's.
Yeah.
So he did a beautiful job. But yeah, and that's what she was trying to attack was the sexiness. So I ended up putting up more sexy images on my campaign.
Yeah, that's the only correct response to people like that. That is right.
Yeah,
I've been saying that too. Now, hey, if you the more you guys complain about the titties, the bigger they're going to get. So keep going.
Oh yeah, and that's the way of doing it. And I told her too, because I don't engage with those kind of people on Twitter if they're going to be like that. And I mean, she blocked me. I blocked her a long time ago. So she was doing it, dirty-handed, right? And she was trying to send people my way. I didn't acknowledge that garbage. But on my streams, I said it. Listen, if you're that jealous, all you got to do is eat right, eat a salad every once in a while, and do some squats.
No, as a former cosplayer, she should know that. But I guess she kind of she's moving on to other careers. I don't know. I mean, she's going from cosplayer to troll. Yeah.
Well, she may have a future as one of those digital girls because physically she just doesn't going to stack up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, unless she was willing to do what Vinny said, start working out more, eating less.
Mm-hmm.
That's generally all it'll take. But too much effort. Can't.
We wouldn't want her to put herself out.
Yeah.
All right. So I got so Don Creep sends me $5 through Streamlabs. So thank you. So didn't know you were streaming. Here is your shekels. I'm out. P.S. Titties. Yeah, that's perfect.
Nice.
The important message to pass on. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do these like every Tuesday nights now. Yeah, all my free time is going away. All the not just the. Yeah, I've been starting to realize wow now, especially with my own campaign launching soon. Like, man, the list of shit I still have to finish isn't really that big, but it's getting bigger as the days tick by.
Of course. I was just on EVS's stream last night, and I had an idea what I was going to do with this piece, because it's going to be in the book, like in the gallery section that I have. Like, I got a cover / pinup gallery. But I said for maybe like a really high tier, I might do like a limited edition of his piece as a cover. And EVS goes, I think a better idea would be if you do like a little ash can and maybe make it the cover to that, and then put a bunch of different artwork in there, you know. And I went, actually, that is a really cool idea. So now that's what I'm going to do. So it doesn't have to be a super high tier. It'll be a lesser tier. So like around 25K, you know, if we hit that, we got to do it in the time though allowed, because I'm going to do an extension on this campaign. So I'll get the extra 30 days, but yeah, because there's about a week left. So when I do the extension, as long as we could do it, so it'll be 37 days. If we could get up to 25, you know, whoever backed the book at that point, they'll get those freebies. They'll get the bookmark. They'll get the ash can, you know, on top of having a hardcover book that's 100 pages. You know, I don't think you could go wrong with that.
Yeah, that's right. Almost at 16K too. So yeah, no, another month. Oh, especially holy shit! From what I've seen watching other people's campaigns, it seems you get on average like maybe, you know, however much you get in your first like 3 or 4 days. That's probably, you know, you just multiply that by 3. That's probably how good you're going to do. At least from what I've seen, you get about a third of your money all the way up front, and then the rest of another third kind of trickles in throughout the rest of the campaign, and then 1/3 at the end.
That's not the whole thing. That's just in the kind of the nominal period, you know, like the 30-day, you know, generally the first 30-day window, you know, that, you know, and then you do your extension, and then so that extends it out above that kind of 3x multiplier, and then you go in demand, and you know, think like for instance, I went in demand. I guess I went in demand right around 10,500, and so I'm at 13 or so right now, and that's all been, you know, just steadily coming in. You know,
well,
get the book.
If you really want more, I mean, you could do it your boy Zack way. Yeah, you could just have some comic pro just try to ruin your job, and you could get, because I noticed he made like what, after all that whole Mark Waid drama happened, he got another 150K or something.
But you know, so it's more than that, right? So your boy Zack had so much content and so many followers just to his video, so it was a natural progression, you know. And I know he's been a comic writer since the late 90s. You know, he's been, you know, looking to create like that. So it's just a natural progression. And, you know, he's selling to his audience. You know, when you sell to your audience, man, you know, it's like your book is tailor-made for your audience. And it looks awesome, by the way. I haven't, you know, complimented it yet since we're on your channel.
Yeah, from what I've seen too, yeah, your book does look amazing, man.
Oh man, I just hope we live up to the expectations, man. No, I see my artist is actually hanging out in the chat right now. I'm sure he definitely appreciates hearing that from 2 guys who are already in the game.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, kind of figure. No, I have the same problem that Scott does. You know, nobody. I mean, I already have a YouTube platform, but in the comic sphere, like we're nobodies. Right. So yeah, we have to just all cylinders right out the gate.
So, you know, I mean, my background is, you know, communications, marketing, things like that. And, you know, you really have a great opportunity because you've got two intersecting markets and audiences. You've got your YouTube channel, which is not insignificant, and you've got Comicsgate. You know, Comicsgate folks want good quality books, and ultimately they don't care where they come from as long as they find them. And so you're doing the right things to kind of, you know, make yourself known within CG. But you know, your book, like I said, it's tailor-made for your audience, man. And I guarantee you're going to do very well.
Yeah, I absolutely think so, man. Because we're all the projects that I've seen. I mean, yeah. And I don't know that much about you, to be honest. I really don't. You know, you were popping up a little bit more here and there. And that's when I reached out to you, too, and said hello. Because I like what you have to offer for people as well. because you're one of those people where you have your heart is on your sleeve. You're not pulling punches.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how I am too. Like, I'm not looking to pick fights with anyone, but if someone screwed me over, I'll be vocal about it because I think fans deserve to know who's a scumbag in the industry, who's been doing dirty things, right? And that the alternative is us, is Comicsgate, is independent creators who really do have passion in what they're creating. You know, this story, what I worked on here, this is a ghost story that, you know, I've been wanting to tell. Yeah, I did the first draft of this thing, and it was actually going to be a straight up horror book. But I let my brother read it, and he was like, dude, no, this is really good, but you might not want to like limit the audience. So he goes, what if we do a little more suspense and focus a little bit more on the ghost element? I said, you know what? That is a great idea. We rewrote it. You know, so the first issue, it is like about 90% of what I had already. And then I let him write issues 2 and 3, and we collaborated. We bounced back and forth what we wanted in the book versus what we didn't. What was going to happen in issue 1, how it affects issue 3. So there's callbacks, and you know, it is a very tight, contained, great story, and that's what I wanted to give people. You know, because I didn't want to come out of the gate with a superhero book, because I think the market's already flooded with that crap. I went a little more old school. I went like that pulp kind of action, suspense, horror. That's where I was coming from, because that's when comics were really unique.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. This is just one of those things where I may not have even cared about making my own stuff if the SJWs hadn't completely destroyed the stuff I actually liked. And eventually, you know, it's like Comicsgate went through as a whole. You know, if eventually, once you complain enough and you know, and they make it clear they're not going to listen, you have to make your own at that point. Well, and that's the position we're in. And I saw, but in the one thing I always kept saying, you know, going back the whole 7 years I've been here, is one of the main reasons manga is just kicking Western comics ass as a whole is because they have actual diversity. You know, they have, no matter what you're into, there is a manga for you.
But it goes beyond that. They are actually giving the people who want that product exactly what they want to get.
Yep.
And they're doing high quality versions of it. And
it's a very strict meritocracy. Yeah, if your numbers slip in the monthly magazines, yeah.
Well, the other part of it too is, you know, I mean, it's comparing manga to U.S. comics is absolutely a disingenuous comparison, because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've never lived in Japan, but I've lived in South Korea, and, you know, for almost 6 years. And I've been to Japan. It is everywhere. Everybody, housewives read it, husbands read it, kids read it. If you are into sports, you read it. You just read the sports ones. So it's a little different. But that being said, you're absolutely right. It's a total meritocracy. There's so much competition that they can't afford to have some sort of, you know, have Marvel or, you know, these companies taken over by people with agendas that just want to grind their axe, you know. Now, one of the unique things that we have done, and Vinny is a great example, I'm a good example, is that a guy off the street with a little bit of his own money and a little bit of gumption can make a professional level comic. You know, there's a much lower barrier to entry into the marketplace. But, you know, like, look what's going on with anime. If SJWs in America take over all the anime stuff, like what you're seeing with, you know, Funimation and things like that, then there's no way. I mean, the barrier to entry to create new anime is so high that you wouldn't be able to do it. You just have to.
That's actually why I keep shilling and pushing for CGI so much. I mean, God, since I started my channel, I've always been outspoken in that I really supported CG and I wanted to see more of it. And every time I get the kickbacks, like, oh, but it looks like shit. But you like Pixar, right? Like, oh yeah, well, Pixar is cool. Then now imagine if they actually advanced the technology to let indies make things like Pixar does. Yeah. That's my end goal, because that is when animation is, I mean, indie animation can actually be competitive.
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot of great stuff out there.
I think it'll happen. I 100% believe it's going to happen, because with technology being more available for people, I'm seeing more and more people who are way young that are just unbelievable and their skill level. Why? Because they have more access to this stuff at an earlier age. Now, there's pros and cons to that as well, right? There's people who might not know the foundations of stuff, perspective, anatomy. But, again, there's a lot of tutorials, a lot of things like that. So I don't know. I think overall art, movies, animation, I think all that stuff is going to be better and better as the years go by and quicker.
Oh God, no! Speaking of that, like, have you seen the work that was that Liam Gray's artist is doing on Xenotype? That dude's a fucking teenager, and he's already better than almost everyone at Marvel right now.
Yeah, and that to me is hilarious because it's someone like him who would be ignored by the mainstream, right?
Well, another one, Carlo Rowe.
Because
another young guy is just kicking it out of the park.
Oh yeah. Well, I was in the same position as Carl as well. Back when I almost had the Spider-Man job. It's crazy how it is, and to see it being mirrored even to this day. But it's those same kind of horrible people. See, I was supposed to draw a Spider-Man title back when I was around that age, right? I was in my early 20s, and Joe Quesada steps in 2 weeks before I signed the contract, and he put one of his friends on the book instead, because that's how they operate. And then they completely ignore the editors who've been there forever and know how to find new talent. Why? Because they want to push their agenda. They want to push their garbage, their friends, and those books fail.
And then they just replace those good editors too with their friends.
Absolutely, and that's why this whole business is falling to shit. And the ones who are there, they're crooks. They're just horrible people. I've told the story multiple times about Joe Quesada, how he screwed me over a couple of times, even tracing over my work. There was Joe Kubert. I don't know with your audience if they're that familiar with him, but he's one of the all-time greats at Marvel, and he's got this school in New Jersey. His sons are Adam Kubert and Andy Kubert. I met Joe Kubert at a comic shop in New York. He saw my work and went, "This is amazing." And I didn't go to his school. I'm all self-taught. And he's like, "We're going to get you some work." And he gave my samples to Joe Quesada. And instead of hiring me, Joe traced over my work. Isn't that something that is... I'm sorry, what was that?
What was it for? Which character?
What do you mean, which character?
What was the work that he traced over? What book was it for?
I had samples. Yeah, I had some samples. Because especially living in New York, I would do like samples like every other week or something, and I would actually drop them off at the office or something in Marvel. But or like I would get sample scripts. The thing is, he liked the work so much, and he was working on some horrible Daredevil book, and I guess he's strapped for ideas. So I guess he's thumbing through whatever's there on his desk, and I'll trace this because that's how he is, a scumbag.
Now, thankfully, these days you got the internet, so your work would have been out on the internet, and you would have been able to call it. But alternatively, though, there is actually I brought this up on another stream, but I think the internet is a double-edged sword when it comes to things like plagiarism, though, because on the one hand, there are some really funny instances where you do find blatant instances of plagiarism because of it, but on the other hand, if you got billions of people using this thing, what if two people just have a very similar idea within a short time span? Because I'm sure you two probably get the same thing. Because every time I put up a new Blade Devil image or talk about it, some people are like, "Oh, this reminds me of," and then they start listing off things I've never heard of. Now it's at least in this case, it's just similarities, so that's fine. But I mean, it's only a matter of time until the similarities get too close. And I mean, I think a lot of plagiarism accusations in current year are false, honestly. It's just there's no way you could have known that somebody on the other side of the planet was doing the same thing. So it's a double-edged sword, So
it's interesting you should mention that because, with Doorkickers, the whole supernatural meets military with a kind of a Cthulhu kind of, bad guys, right? So, like after I came out with this campaign, people are like, "Oh, this looks really cool. It looks like," I think one of them was Delta Green, and then another one is this. There's this web series that I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. SG something, I can't remember. Anyway, but the point is that while it's a great idea, it's similar to other ideas. Now, I had no idea about these other ideas. I mean, what I created is based on my experience in the military and my love of, horror and action comics and, whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, smashed into it. But ultimately, you're right. It's this kind of like this great, if it's a great idea, you're not going to be the only one that comes up with it. And so that's one of the reasons why, like I've shared my scripts and things like that before with other writers in CG before, and some people are like, "Oh my gosh, you don't want to share this out." I'm like, "Why? If you're going to steal it, it's already stolen." I can't, and none of my stuff is so great that there's anything completely amazing here. It's I think above average work, and I think it can be better with awesome art, and so that's why I decided to put my own money behind the initial investment on this, and it's paid off. So, it's worked out really great.
Yep, that's another big thing too. I mean, you got to be willing to put up, especially now, because I'm one of those people that got burned one too many times in the early days of Kickstarter. So now I don't even back a project unless I'm like 99.9% sure it's actually gonna happen. Because and it used to be in the early days where you could get funded just with the idea, like, "Oh, I have this awesome idea. Can you give me some money to make it a reality?" And after the vast majority of those ended up never becoming a reality. You can't do that anymore. You have to actually put out. So if you come into it with this much content, that is a very good sign. And in Vinny's case, like don't get me started on that. I mean, the whole thing's already done. So
yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
I think that is the smartest route, because like that's the one thing I want to make crystal clear with anyone who back my projects is they know it's going to come out 100%. That's I think what even got me moving so quickly in CG. It's not only my professionalism or my background, in artwork and the companies I work for, but I'm someone who went through a whole bunch of shit in the industry. People screwing me over, trying to step over me, ripping off my artwork. I've had fights with gigantic names in comics.
And now you're just doing better off on your own. How does that make you feel?
And that's what I wanted, man. I'm like, why should I be drawing their characters when I have worlds created? I sent you the link for City of Venus. That one's mine top to bottom. Wrote the whole story, did all the artwork, put everything together. I mail it out, all the marketing. I know what it takes, and you have to have passion in this industry and this business. And those people at the big companies, they don't have it at all.
Scott
has a lot of passion. Other creators I've talked to. That's why I interview a lot of people on my channel as well. It's because I want to hear their story. And especially if they're passionate people, they talk to me in private. I'm like, hell yeah, we're going to give you a good push.
Oh no, dude, no, that's fun. God, no, the video I put out right before, like an hour before this stream, actually, that what you just said fits in perfectly with that. Oh, and the case I was making was I was actually kind of building off of a Twitter conversation I had with Wenger, when he was pointing out that sometimes it gets pretty hard to tell the difference between legitimate criticism and like outrage mobs or concern trolling. And my case, my side is it's not hard at all if you are an actual fan of what you're making. If you yourself are passionate about what you're doing, it's so damn obvious when someone is faking it. Mm-hmm. And that's the advantage of us independent creators. Because with the big companies, the problem is, this is why every single hobby that makes it into the mainstream ends up going to shit. Because at first, and we saw this with gaming, with the PS2, I think that was like the golden age of gaming was the PS2 era. Because that's when all the people, all the fans, the games were made by fans for fans. You had gamers doing what they love. And that's when all the money started flowing into the industry. So those people were still in charge. They just had a lot more money to do what they loved. But then they slowly started being forced out and replaced by bean counters. And now the bean counters call the shots. And a lot of these people who are running these companies, they couldn't care less about what this hobby is. They're professional managers. They're professional bean counters. They don't know shit.
So many people get into comics now looking for their Netflix deal, you know?
That's even worse. Yeah, when people they're only in comics as a stepping stone. They couldn't give a fuck about comics. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm sitting here. If I had a choice, I'd do all three. I want to do comics, video games, and animation, but neither one is a stepping stone. I'd want to do all of them simultaneously.
Right. Well, you know, like I'd love and there may be something afoot to make the Doorkickers appear in a different medium than it is right now. But that being said, it won't be me that's making it. It'd be great if there's a Doorkickers TV show or a movie or a video game or something. Actually, there is a Doorkickers video game already, but it's not mine. But but the point is that the only thing I'm going to work on is the comics, because that's what I know. You know, that's what I love. That's the thing that I can wrap my head around. I mean, I don't know the first thing about making a TV show or writing one or anything like that. And it's so formulaic nowadays that I don't even want to mess with that. If you want to make it, that's great. You know, I'll sign the TV rights away and
you may want to be
paycheck,
careful,
man. No, man, as long as I get the paycheck, I don't care, man. Because I don't want to make it, you know.
Well, no, I mean, you don't have to make it, but you at least need to make sure you don't sign away your creative veto powers.
But exactly. you got to understand, like I said, there may already be something afoot, and just because I don't want to make it doesn't mean I don't want to make a whole lot of money and to have some say in where it goes. So.
But no, that's fine though. I'm just saying. I've seen. You want to make sure that you're not the next version of the Netflix adaptation meme.
Yeah.
The problem is if you just don't care, you're like, okay, just do what you want and give me the money. They could fuck up so bad they will take your comic down with it. They'll ruin the whole IP's reputation.
Yeah. Well, you're right about that.
Yeah, and it will never get a chance to be made into a proper TV show or a movie if, you know, it goes down that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's why I'll agree with you though. If there was ever a chance to get Blade Devil animated, I'm not going to do it. But I'm at the very least, I'm going to make sure that it's like the same agreement they have in Japan, where the creator of the source material has veto powers. Like, I'm not going to let you do that. Fuck off. Yeah.
And, you know, as creators, we have the ability to make the deals that we want to make, and you know, we have the ability to choose who we do business with, and ultimately, you know, if you're going to plop a big enough chunk of cash in front of me, I'll sign almost any deal, you know, with very few exceptions. That being said, we all know that a Comicscape book is never going to get that kind of money. It's going to be, you know, because eventually a Comicscape book will be a TV show. It will be a movie. It will be animated. It will be whatever, right? Probably be Cyberfog would be my guess. But ultimately, you know, eventually there will be these migration into other places because, you know, A, the ideas are good, and B, there will be audiences for the product that we're selling. So, you know, we just need to be smart about how we make our deals so that it represents us, who we are, the way we represent ourselves in CG, you know, to keep the politics out of these products, you know, no matter what your politics are.
Well, with Hollywood and the gaming industry and all that stuff, they're not looking at politics. They're looking at sales numbers. So if a project... Yeah, if a project is doing amazing, they don't care. They'll walk over and go, "All right, we want to buy it."
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
and sometimes they'll buy it just so it doesn't get out there, you know, just so they don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, they'll sit on it.
Yeah, they'll just lock the license down. That's right. That's what the options are. No, they have to pay you for a few years worth. Yeah, and I agree with you too, though. I mean, it depends on how much money. I mean, if you came up and gave me fuck you money, like you gave me enough money so I never have to work again. I mean, yeah, go ahead. You can have it. Do whatever you want. If I don't like what you do, I'll create a spiritual successor because it's not like I don't have the free time now, thanks to all the fuck you money you gave me.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. But anything less than that. Yeah. I mean, again, I would let whoever I signed the rights to do whatever they want, but they'd have to run it by me first, and I could say no.
Within certain
That's
parameters. I mean, you just got to be smart and you got to surround yourself too at the early stages with people who know who understand what you want to accomplish, and also understand the business that you're trying to get into. You know.
Oh yeah, or at the, and it's funny enough. It's the same thing when dealing with lawyers. Yeah. And I say that because I had to. If I wasn't personally, keeping a close eye on everything the lawyers were doing, I could have really screwed myself over. But every step of the way, I was looking at what they did and I was asking questions. And I saved my own ass, like at least on 2 occasions, just because of that. And it's I view the same thing. Same thing with like movies. I mean, I probably couldn't create or direct an animation to save my life, but I can tell a good one from a bad one, and especially if it's with my IP. If you want to take it in a direction that I know my IP is not a good fit for, I would want to be able to put a stop to it. Like, no, I'm not gonna. Or kind of was like a. Thankfully, I don't have any hot redheads in my my comic yet, because I know damn sure they'd be replaced with Leslie Jones in the live action version. So.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, it's things like that.
Ryan Jill says here, Doorkickers reminds me of the Animatrix. So, like my two favorite episodes are, what is it? The Second Renaissance 1 and 2. The long history of the Matrix world at the end. I love those fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, what I loved about the Animatrix is how, like, during the movies, like they were trying to play it up like oh, I know the humans didn't do nothing, but then when you watch the Animatrix, like, they kind of had it coming. The robots wanted to have peace, but the humans were like, no, we're gonna destroy you. It's only fair, they got what was coming to them.
I thought that was such a great project. I'll be honest with you, the Animatrix was better than all of 2 and a lot of 3.
Well, yeah, it's the in-depth story. It's the background stuff. I mean, who doesn't love that? It's kind of like in the Resident Evil games when you found out more of the backstory, like in 0. It might not have been the best game, but it was really fun. I thought it was still really good. But what happened? You learned about the T-virus more, William Burke and Albert Wesker. You found out how involved they were with all of it from the beginning. That kind of stuff is awesome. I always dig it.
Yeah, it's and it's not like this is anything new too. I mean, we at least the earliest occurrence I can remember is with the Lord of the Rings when Tolkien made the Silmarillion and all those other books, where it's just let's get into a little bit more of the backstory of how things became the way they are. And that is, I've always been very interested in that. And that's what made the Animatrix so good too, because you got to see what led to the world being the way it is.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as black and white as you may have thought it would be.
Well, the chat also says that the Animatrix was a little slow. But I mean, the thing I liked about it was they had the ability in that format to take some risks. Some of it was fairly straightforward, fast-paced, action-oriented, but some of it had more to do with like a Fellini film or something like that. So I like anything that allows artists and storytellers to take a little bit of risk. And there's a couple animated things on Netflix that I've really seen that with. Like, I was really surprised. What was it? The Love, Sex, Death.
And robots. Yeah.
And robots. Yeah. I was kind of like rolling my eyes at first at that when I first heard about it, but then I sat down and watched them, and I thought almost probably 80% of them were excellent.
Yep.
And that's what I love about animation in general. It sucks that it has to be so expensive and time consuming to make, because you just have way more freedom in animation than you do in live action. You can just even the limits of the human body don't apply anymore. For example, something that you'd have to spend a fortune to do via CGI if it was live action, it's a whole lot easier in animation. So I just love that, man.
Yeah, it's seriously, it's great.
Yeah, and that's also part of the reason I've always loved comics, or especially or in current year. Honestly, I mean, if it wasn't for Comicsgate, I wouldn't care less about Western comics. I mean,
Yes, same here. It's really what pulled me back in. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I hate to say this, but I didn't even know who Ethan was before, because I checked out in the '90s, and
Me
I think
too.
I barely touched a couple things in the early 2000s. But I joined the army and I went to war, and I was either in the Middle East, or I was in Korea. Most of the time since 2001, and I just kind of checked out of it. I mean, there was just nothing that I saw when I saw things on the internet that really said, oh, I need to get back into comics. Comicsgate is the first time, is what brought me back into comics, and I'm really happy for it.
Yeah, it's the same story with me. Even right now, I don't get anything from Marvel or DC. It's manga and Comicsgate. That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Pretty
I can
much.
totally see that.
It's ridiculous what they did, and I was the same. I stopped for a long time. I hadn't been in stores in years, because I seen it firsthand, how they are, and then how they treat people, like that Robbie Rodriguez. Not just
Robbie Rectum,
but not only that, like to see him in person too, because I was doing a couple of shows. I told the story once or twice, but I was exhibiting at a show. And there was a family who came by, and this girl looked so sad. She walked by my table, like her eyes were all like open wide, because she saw, I guess, a character that she really liked. But then she was sad again, and I'm like, well, what's going on? I was being friendly, and the father goes, "Oh, we had a really rough experience here." I said, "What do you mean?" And he proceeded to tell me about what that Robbie did. He goes, "My daughter's favorite character is Spider-Gwen, and we asked for a drawing. If he could do it." And he goes, "I don't have much money," because he goes, I'm going to be shipped out soon again too, and I wanted to take my kids to a convention.
Yeah.
It's the first time that they have a chance to be at a show. I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, what happened? What was he charging?" And it wasn't even I see, to me, this makes no sense. If a kid comes to my table, usually I'll give them something for free, or I'll do a quick little doodle, something.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was charging full price for a sketch, and he was refusing to budge on it. And the guy's like, "Well, I can't afford it." And the father, first of all, he made the father like embarrassed, for
his kid. Yeah.
And then second off, I mean, you're the creator of this character, and you can't do something simple for this little girl. So I said, "Hold on a second." And I had a big print of that character. I went in my bag, I pulled it out, signed it, and just gave it to him. And she lit up like a Christmas tree. So happy, and he was stunned and confused. He goes, "Wait, you're just giving this to me?" He goes, I don't have money for it." I'm like, "Don't worry about it." I said, "She deserves this." I said, "If this is her first convention, I want it to be a memorable one. Why should she be sad? She shouldn't be." So I gave the piece over, and we continued to talk. And he told me, his background, and he's special forces, and how much this meant to him. And he says he's gonna, he goes, "I'll find you on another show, and I'll make sure, like, I'll get something good from you. I'll get original artwork, and no problems. Like, as long as you guys are all happy, that's cool." Fast forward, maybe like 6 months later, I'm doing another show, and he popped up, this time by himself. Mm-hmm. And he gave me one of those special coins that he says they don't give civilians.
Oh, the challenge coins?
Yeah, challenge coins.
Yeah. And he said, he goes, "Because you did something so amazing for my family. You're part of my family now." And he gave that to me. And it's one of those pieces where I'm gonna treasure that, and I'm never gonna forget it. And he was true to his word. He wanted to buy original artwork from me. He did. I gave him some more prints and stuff too. But that's the kind of connection that you want with people. You don't just, "Oh, you can't afford that, well, fuck off." No, that's being a piece of shit. That's
the kind of guy. Now he'll buy anything that you put out because you have made that connection with him. He respects you as a man, not just as oh, he's a guy, I like his art. Mm-hmm. There's that connection, and so I don't know if you've stayed in contact with him or anything, but I mean, I guarantee if that guy knows your books are out there, he's going to buy them.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But and that's what I mean. And it's not even just for that, but I treat everyone with respect, because everyone deserves that, unless you prove otherwise, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, that's my whole thing too. Is if it's my first interaction with you, I'm going to be ranging from neutral to positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you open up with being negative, I'm going to reciprocate. I'm sorry.
For sure.
Well, that's an interesting quandary though for the Comicsgate creator, because a lot of times the first time somebody interacts with you or sees you is your interaction on Twitter, and this is one of the reasons why I just try not to get engaged in any of the drama on Twitter, because I don't see a benefit,
Yeah,
at all.
I've been doing the same thing. I mean, I was a troll online for the longest time. Now I just I just let it. I don't participate anymore.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm done with that shit.
Yeah, I mean, you get to a point too, because just seeing how some people are, like, that they'll never let go of nonsense. So it's like it's a conversation that's going to go nowhere. It's a waste of time and it's aggravation. Because like if I were involved in that nonsense, I wouldn't have had a ton of books out last year, right? I had 4 campaigns and 7 books I fulfilled. I was running campaigns every month. I'm still shipping stuff out, right? Because I have 2 other campaigns that are live, and as soon as people back it, I pack it up and I ship it out either same day or next day, because that's what they deserve. That's what people should be getting with this. This should be totally professional on that level. If you want to have fun here and there, or if there's some people who are just ball breakers for the sake of it, you might want to throw back here and there. But again, to do it day after day after day is you're beating a dead horse. It's going nowhere, and it's not helping anyone. You just wait people.
Scott was dead on too. I mean, he said this could be the first time people see you. If the first thing people see is you just roasting somebody, and maybe they're going to get a weird impression. So I love how Ethan does it, where he just quote tweets them and says something funny or dismissive or something, but he doesn't flat out attack them.
Yeah, go classy and you're good. There's really no way around that. What they do, it's just so stupid when you see the anti-CG or whatever. It doesn't make sense. They bring up lies, because they can't get any true facts.
It goes beyond that. It's not just stupid. It's irrational. And when it's irrational, there's literally nothing you can do. It's basically... if I say that all fire engines are red, somebody like that is going to say, oh, well, there are some that are yellow. Well, yeah, there are some that are yellow, but you know what I'm saying. It's like me saying apples are red. Well, or there's some Granny Smith out there that are green and things like that. And so it's like when you start interacting with somebody like that, you're never going to be able to make any headway, and it's just there's no benefit in it.
And you got to be careful too, because sometimes I don't know. How do I say this in a politically correct way? I mean, autism is a thing. Sometimes your own fans are going to be like that, and it may irritate you sometimes, but they're not trying to. It's just that's just how they are. And if you flip out on one of your own fans, you're done.
Or in some people's case, you just flat out tell them off. Yeah, don't expect sales again.
You can't act like a Marvel comic pro. You don't have Disney signing your paychecks.
And the other thing to remember too is 9 times out of 10, the guy you want to argue with on Twitter didn't buy your book anyway.
Oh yeah.
So the sale you lose is not the argument, is not from him. It's from this other person that for whatever reason sees this and says, oh, I didn't realize that Scott McCullough was such an asshole. I don't think I'm going to buy any of his stuff anymore. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Same thing if you block. It's like, this comic is great. Let me see. Oh, I'm blocked. Well, fuck that shit. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Try to be as professional as you can, I met Stan a few times in my life, and the first time I was like 16, and he gave me such encouragement. It was insane. He would, because he had his outs with Marvel, and they were about to go under completely. And he's like, "Kid, your work is absolutely." He goes, "How old are you?" I told him my age. He goes, "This work is incredible." He goes, "I'm going to tell you right now. Go to the other company. I said, what? Yeah, don't go to Marvel. They're going under. And he was right. He was telling me shit that, people didn't know yet. It's only because of the Spider-Man deal that was signed. That's what saved them, is that movie. Because they were about they were about to sell off characters. That's how bad.
That's right. Well, what's interesting about, like, if I were a creator, that's looking for work in a mainstream place, I wouldn't go to Marvel. I'd go to DC just because of the royalty structure.
Mm-hmm.
Just the pay structure alone would send me there.
Yeah, and Ethan talks about that a lot. He's worked from both companies, and he still gets royalty checks from DC. Marvel,
exactly,
not so much.
They treat you right,
Yeah.
Actually, got a super chat here real quick. So Chris Extra Boy, thank you for the 2. He said, I'm autistic. It's true. I'm like that. Yeah, it's sometimes even your own fans may behave in a way that might get annoying, but no, I try. I don't flip my shit out on people unless I can tell they're being malicious. So you gotta be careful. Yeah,
exactly. Because I've done a lot of conventions and I've seen all kinds of people, top to bottom. You just have to have a little more patience. That's really it. Unless, like you said, unless they're being mean. But for the most part, I've had good interactions. Even the ones who, they come at you really strange. You do your best. But then when you see like the ones where it's like those family situations, or someone's in a wheelchair, and the only joy they really have is reading these books and stuff, you better not be mean to them. You better be as kind as possible, because that's what they deserve. This is their world. This is their hobby. This is their escapism. So if you're being shitty to them, dude, I don't want to know who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it'll be just like that convention story you said about Robbie Rectum. It'll end up just like that. I mean, do you think that little girl ever? I'm sure if she is still a comic fan, she probably specifically passes anything that she sees his name on.
Well, what's funny is I bet she barely remembers that, but she'll never forget that free print that she got from you, Vinny. Because it's easy to forget the bad stuff, because, it impacts you in the short term, but in the long term, you just forget about it, because, most of us don't have time to hold on to the negativity. But, the positive things, like what Vinny did, man, that's the kind of stuff that stays with you and you remember for life.
Yeah, and that print is probably hanging on her wall. So, every time you look at it.
Yeah. And the original artwork that her father, commissioned me for afterwards,
Absolutely.
I did that character for her again. But and that's the thing, is I wanted her to have a good memory and a good experience. Because as a kid, when I met certain idols or people that I really liked, if they left a good impression on me, that stuck with me. Like, with Stan. And then even years later, I mean, a couple of years before he passed away, he ended up buying original artwork from me at a convention.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that is nice. Yeah.
That's what I mean. So, you never know how things come back, So it's be good, continue being awesome, helping out one another. That's what it should be about, and just creating cool shit. Because what we're doing is important, being creative, giving people that escapism, that fun. That's what this is all for. Because if it's not, then why are we doing it?
Yeah. Spot on, man. Spot on.
Yeah, we're doing it. It's one of those really good situations where the free market is really fucking awesome, because now everybody gets what they want. The customers. At this point, I've ranted on my channel a million times about this, but I'm not even mad anymore when I see the mainstreams fucking up, because now that I'm moving from consumer to creator, I'm just there doing my happy merchant impression. Like, yes, send more customers my way, please.
Yeah.
So everybody wins. We get more money from the people that were jilted by the mainstream. They actually get what they want. They get something that's worth spending money on. There's no losers in this equation, except for those who deserve to be losers, like those who stab their customers in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've got a very anime manga heavy audience. So I wanted to bring something to this. So I know there are creative folks in this audience that are maybe listening. If there's anybody who is a manga artist contact me, because I'm looking to do a manga version, a manga pinup for this character that I've got coming out soon. And I've even contacted Vinny about maybe doing a cover or something. So if Vinny's involved, it's going to have certain assets. So it's that kind of a character. So, the 3 keywords are female, superhero, busty. Maybe I should have put it as busty female superhero. So
that bring to it.
I really want to do an anime version of that, or a manga version of that. So if there's any artists out there, get a hold of me on Twitter and send me some samples, because we're looking for some different stuff for this campaign. I totally recognize that there are manga people out there that Comicsgate is not speaking to, and that's one of the reasons why I really like your book. So if anybody's out there, get a hold of me.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we wanted to do that. I mean, it's because we see, especially most of the pros in Comicsgate are from the superhero side of things. They're mostly Marvel, DC, and I think the only way American comics can survive right now and hopefully become, as you described it was in Japan, where everybody reads it, is you have to have comics for everybody. Like, no matter what you're into, there has to be a comic that, that's for me right there. Right. And that's, to do that, we have to break away from the superhero stuff. So I've always liked fantasy and big titty anime girls and all that. So, hey, that's what we're making. Maybe next one will be sci-fi.
Maybe we need to, if we can find a really talented manga artist, maybe we could do like a team up cover between our 2 books.
Hey, that'll be fun.
I'm thinking synergy here. All right.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if people want to use our characters, hey, that's cool, man. We just run it by us first. I mean, that's Is that what Mike did? Yeah, remember what Mike did then at the very beginning?
Oh my God, I can't believe that.
Yeah, just using everybody's characters and right off the bat.
That's exactly right. Oh my God, the first print, right?
What a psycho.
Yeah, so anyway, Jarnagi, thank you for the $5. We only want to annoy you because we love you, no homo. and that's the funny thing too, actually, is I know, especially if you're a streamer and you stream enough and you have really funny reactions, I guess people will fuck with you on purpose just to get the reactions out of you too. that is I mean, I know that's why I keep telling people too that especially on the internet, I'm sure both of you know this by heart now, that if someone does or says something that really does offend you, I'm gonna bust out the triggered meme right here, like say if it really does trigger you, it pisses you off, you're not allowed to show it. You can't let them know.
Oh no.
Because as soon as they know exactly which button to press to get you to flip your shit, guess what everyone's going to be doing for the next year?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you got to have that self-control. I mean, just no. I mean, yeah, this oh man, I want to punch this guy so bad, but if I show it,
yeah, I was really interested, I didn't really know what it was like to be a troll on the internet until I joined my buddies in War Campaign a little over a year ago and started to become active in Comicsgate. And, the funny thing is that it was so fun. And I was really surprised how combat actually prepared me for, interaction on Twitter, because after you've been in combat, all that crazy shit on Twitter is just, I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, it's like, oh, I'm going to hurt this guy. You can't hurt me. You're on Twitter.
Isn't it hilarious, dude?
You're just going to laugh at it.
Maybe we could give them a shot though. If both of you are going to be at that Comicsgate convention,
that's right.
We could set a boxing ring up like in the middle of the ballroom.
Yeah. There has been talks about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone's been beefing online. You want to handle it face to face? You got here's your gloves. Get in the fucking ring.
Oh my God! Imagine if we sold tickets to that for charity.
Yeah, yeah. God, no. Imagine no Ethan and Doug working out their differences for charity. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know, man. Doug's got the reach on him, but those arms are like freakishly long, It's like,
well, but he's like a toothpick, though. I mean, Ethan's got the protective coating.
Yeah, one punch and you go down.
I don't think he'd be strong to the body,
No.
Yeah, I know that could be a really good attraction right there. I mean, that was just the example I used. Like, I'm quite sure neither of them actually wants to fight each other, but there's a lot of people that talk shit online. So you just, okay, fine. And here's a boxing ring. We're both here. Mm-hmm. Let's handle this. I mean, we've been talking a lot of shit, so we got a chance, man up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also why I don't talk shit as much anymore. Well, I talk a lot of shit, but not the, I could kick your ass, because, I mean, yeah, especially Scott, you've been in combat. You know how it works. There's always, no matter how small it is, there's always the chance that, you're going to lose in a very embarrassing fashion, even if you had everything going for you.
I more so than actual combat, because I was always in the biggest team in the world, the U.S. Army, but like my experience doing, combatives and MMA kind of stuff. I mean, there's always somebody that can make you just turn you into a pretzel. You never get, you stay humble, and that's the best way to be, because pride, puts you on your ass quick.
Yeah, and you couldn't tell by looking at him either. I mean, I've seen a few MMA fights like that too, where the guy who was the favorites to win by like 99%, he gets kicked in the temple in one hit. One
absolutely!
Shot KO,
it's the nerd assassin. You got these these dorks in high school that were beat up all the time, so they decided, I've seen the UFC, I'll go learn BJJ, and they do BJJ for 5-10 years, and all of a sudden, like, you go in there and you outweigh them by 50 pounds, and you don't think much of them, but then the next thing you're tapping out. I'll get him next time. Tap out, tap out, tap out. I mean, you're just getting submitted right and left, and you find out the guy's a freaking brown belt or something like that. It's just you don't know who can do that.
Yeah, my brother had a great story. One of the places he worked, he saw these two guys were having some beef in the office. So the bigger guy was picking on the smaller guy, and he had to outweigh him by at least 100, 120 pounds. They went outside in the parking lot. They're ready to start pushing each other. The little guy jumps up, one uppercut, knocks down the big guy with one punch.
Oh, yeah.
He went right back to work, went right upstairs, sat by his desk, and continued to work. And the big guy was out for like a half hour.
Wow.
So did he learn his lesson at least after that?
I hope so.
Yeah, man. Because in my case too, I know it's like the old saying goes: an armed society is a polite society. So especially in person, you never know who's going to pull a gun or a knife out on you.
Oh, totally.
So yeah, you just don't. If you can, just don't fuck with people. I mean, why is that so hard for some people?
I live in Texas. You just don't fuck with people here.
Exactly. You shouldn't fuck with people, period.
Yeah.
I have in Texas, you may get shot.
Yeah, I have a friend who's actually he's a Grandmaster Bram Frank. This guy's a legend in the martial art world, and he used to come to my table. I didn't know who he was, and we're chatting a little bit, and then he pulls out like these knives, and we start chatting. I'm like, oh my God, these things are amazing. And he told me his story and who he is. I was like, my jaw dropped, and we became good friends. Because I was amazed at his, not just his background, but his skills and his design work. The guy's like a super genius, but he was always a gigantic comic book fan. I did an interview with him too on my YouTube channel. This is the funny thing. And this guy, he trains special forces all over the world. People who shouldn't exist. He's even shown me some photos that scarred me for life.
Oh God! That's I've seen some of that too. Like, not on the special forces side, but on the police side. Yeah, just no. Sometimes if you want to make sure you don't sleep for a while, pick up your nearest like criminal forensics book, and just scroll to the section where it shows like oh, this body's been spent a week underwater and just got pulled out.
Yeah.
Oh God, those images still I still see.
That's great reference, great art reference.
Yeah, I mean, just look at whoever Adam Post has doing the art for College of the Dead. If you look at his cover for book 2, that is what a body would look like. I mean, he clearly got his references down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of sad. I mean, like you expect guys like me to have encountered that, but the sad thing is the internet makes it to where like our children encounter that fairly easily, and not to be a Debbie Downer, but man, it's sad to know that my kids have encountered dead bodies on the internet. And I can tell you right now, as we thought seeing a dead body would have been the most exciting thing ever when I was a kid, because, it was impossible to do.
Yeah.
It was impossible. Now, I mean, it's like everybody would like go rent Faces of Death. Like, oh my God, don't let who's going to rent it? Faces of, you remember that?
Oh yeah.
It was all fake, and some of it was kind of realist, like a news footage or whatever. But man, it's not the same way. It's super easy to see all that shit now.
Yeah, I mean, I was hanging out on was it Rotten.com back in the day. I mean, they showed the real stuff. Yeah, that was kind of. But on the plus side, I mean, I guess we're taken back to how the natural order should be, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it. And because, I mean, everywhere else but the first world, that is something you may encounter on that, constantly. I mean, there is no protecting kids from the real world in the third world.
Yeah, if you're living life, you're going to see things essentially, because I the first time I saw something like that, I was living in New York and traveling back and forth, and right at the Port Authority there was a guy who got hit by not one bus, 3 buses.
Yeah.
Wait. So did they run him over like in a line, or was this just like some of those memes where he's getting like ping ponged between 3 buses?
No, in a line, because they didn't see him, they didn't know, because this it's like those idiots who wanna do their bike riding in the morning and they think that the streets belong to them.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. So actually, that license plate that says "Share the Road" and it has the bicyclist on it.
Yeah.
I was thinking of putting out a version that says "Get off the road" and it's that same license plate, but with a whole line of cars going up the horizon behind him.
Exactly, man. I think those kind of people, they're psychotic. If you want to go exercise or something like that, either you go on a stationary bike in a gym or you go to a park.
Or at the very least, learn to not run red lights.
Yeah, these people are crazy. This guy, he cut in front of where the buses come out. So obviously, yeah. And it's funny too, because like the dispatcher, he goes, "Oh my God, you guys got to see this." I'm like, "What?" I look over and there was blood everywhere. And he goes, "It happened again." Again? Again? He's like, "Yeah." It goes, "They're picking up pieces of them, putting it in plastic bags and hosing out the rest."
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I had a friend who did crime scene cleanup. Yeah, he was kind of the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, just got done scraping some guy's brain off the wall. Another suicide.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's that right there. If you, forget going into combat. I mean, see, if you're in combat, you may have the misfortune of seeing it in progress.
Oh yeah.
But crime scene cleanup, like daily basis, gets to see the most creative ways people kill themselves.
Not to make a serious stream, but the thing that really gets you in combat is when you know the people.
Yeah.
You're putting your hand in the mush that used to be your best friend's face. Yeah.
So, that's where it's tough. When it's a stranger, it's oddly, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I guess after you've already seen it happen to people yeah, I mean...
Yeah. I guess you become desensitized to it, like kids with porn lately.
Well, yeah, but the thing I wanted to say is the funniest, it's not funny, I guess, but, you were talking about that bum getting run over by the bus.
Wasn't a bum.
It was a hipster.
It was one of these Wall Street idiots.
That's actually better than mine.
Yeah. No, yeah, like picture someone from the Joker movie, the ones that he shot in the subway.
first person I ever saw get killed was a bum in San Diego, and he got hit by a bus. And I think he committed suicide, but he just walked right in front of the bus, and the bus threw him up in the air. And oddly enough, I was riding my bike to fucking work, and I couldn't believe it. I was just like, "Holy shit! Did I just see what I just saw?"
Yeah, no, my story is a lot more cheer. I mean, if you want to move the stream back into something more cheerful, now I got the best ride to work I ever had. It was actually there was this 3-lane street. It wasn't a highway. It was just it was a regular city street. I was going to work. I was on the left lane because my left turn was right there, and then all of a sudden everyone just stopped. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then everyone's pulling over into the middle lane, and then the guy in front of me moves, and I can see there's this cop car that's kind of straddling the left and the middle lanes, and the cop is trying to talk to a guy who's clearly on some drugs. And right as I'm pulling up to pass him, so I got like a front row seat, like they start fighting, and I'm just like, my first instinct was, I need to go out there. It's like, no, I don't, because I remember, if you're not trained, you stay the fuck out of the way, or else you're going to make things worse. So I just sat there and watched, and the cop was trying to handcuff him. So he kept trying to push him over the hood of his car to handcuff him. Yeah. The guy kept fighting. And so eventually the cop just pushed him away, pulled his taser out and tased his ass. And so he's just there on the ground, convulsing and all that good stuff.
That's awesome.
So, and then he gets up and he charges the cop again. So the cop uses his second charge, tases him again, and he's just there, just shaking. And by that point, his backup came in because he called for backup earlier. And the other cop gets out of her car and she walks up. And right as she's coming up, he's sitting up, he's taking his shirt off, and he charges them again. And then she pulls her taser and zaps him a third time. And then he stopped moving after that time.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so I was just there laughing.
Have you guys been tased before?
No.
I have. It sucks.
Yeah, no, I almost did. I was considering going into the police force as an option, and I know you have to get both tased and pepper sprayed because you got to be, especially with the pepper spray, because you may be hit with your own spray, so you got to be able to handle it. And but I didn't.
We had riot control training that we had to do back in the 90s, and we had to get tased, and we had to get sprayed with the OC spray, and I've had CS gas and pepper spray and all that kind of stuff. And the funny thing is that I would much rather get right in the face with like pepper spray than to get tased. The tased.
Yeah, I think I noticed that people react differently to being tased, though. I know it's supposed to be that. The reason people convulse and all that is because most people, if a taser hits you, it'll even if you can deal with the pain, the electricity going through your body makes your nerves do weird things.
Yeah,
but I've also seen people that got tased and it didn't affect them. Like they were able to just tough it out. Like that's the weirdest shit. I mean, maybe they just got lucky and got hit in the right place where it didn't do that much. But I don't know. I mean, that would again. Some people, you could get the biggest guy on the street and he's going to be crapping his pants and convulsing on the sidewalk when you hit him with that. Mm-hmm. I mean, other times, it's just like, oh, you want to start a fight? Like,
So in the chat, Law and Colt says, do they use pepper spray? Can it be used in food? Well, I don't know about pepper spray, but I know that people have made salsa with chemical mace, and I've seen the videos of them eating it.
Oh God. That can't be good.
Oh well, I mean, at least it's not fatal. I mean, because it's. Oh, I know there's a special, or I don't know if all pepper spray is like this nowadays, but it's not so much that it blinds you anymore. It does, but there's also it also goes into your lungs and makes it so you can't breathe.
Oh yeah.
That's the fun stuff.
Well, it's the thing that I like is the enormous amount of instant discharge from your nose, like you just it's just dripping out, and you feel so bad that you just don't care. You just want to stop burning.
Yeah, I mean, your body knows what to do, man. As soon as your nose detects, like, oh, there's shit here that shouldn't be here, just eject everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Yeah, and then you start salivating. You start, you start tearing up. Now, actually, that's the thing. When being sick, anyway, that's kind of when I learned. If you're nauseated, and you know how you feel like you might throw up, but you don't know. You don't know. The one time you know for sure, and there's no going back, is when your mouth starts watering. Like, okay, now it's coming. I got like 10 seconds. Give me.
If you're lucky, 10 seconds.
yeah, that's right. If you're lucky, yeah. But that is the early warning. So no matter how bad you feel, just keep going, because there's no point in worrying about if it's going to happen. Once your mouth starts watering, then you know. It's like, there's no avoiding it. It's coming.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I learned that lesson through a few experiences. Yeah, yeah. But hey, at least now I know.
We have a saying in the Army is that you learn through trauma and repetition, and sometimes it's the repetition of trauma. So,
oh yeah, that is. I mean, that's the whole point of basic training too, right? Is to deconstruct you and build you back up, put you through all that repetitious training, so you react the way you're supposed to.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen Hot Ones on YouTube?
Oh, the
guy who interviews all the celebrities eat the hot wings.
I love that show.
Yeah, like that dude. I mean, he can eat just like nonstop, and he seems fine, and everyone else is like vomiting and spitting in buckets.
Oh god, yeah. Well, if you get used to it, I mean, that used to be with me with like just hot food in general. I mean, I could just load up the ghost pepper sauce. Oh, it's no big deal, no big deal. But then the more you eat it, you get desensitized to it, and then you lay off of that crap for a few months, and then you come back. It's like, oh, this is what it feels like for everybody else. Like, this is horrible.
This is what it feels like to live.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And I'm just glad I got my taste back, because I did. There was a period in my life that I was just dumping hot sauce on everything. Say, hey, look, a new ice cream. Just dump a bottle of hot sauce on that.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it's the funny thing I thought was interesting was that, like, so my wife is Korean, and she will eat the hottest Korean stuff, stuff that like makes it's spicy going in and it's spicy coming out your ass, and so she can eat that stuff no problem. So when we first moved to the States, we go to a Mexican restaurant. I think it was Buffalo Wild Wings, and she got one of the hotter. But it was like a Mexican kind of style peppers, right? And she eats that, and all of a sudden she's on fire. And she's like, why is this happening? Because, different peppers have different kinds of
course. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can sympathize.
But then not to the other.
No, I understand, man. It's the same thing with me, actually. I can handle pretty much every type of spicy food in existence except for wasabi. That's like the one thing. Like, I just get a little bit of wasabi, and my nose is running, my eyes are watering, and I'm like, what the hell? It's like, I could eat ghost peppers, but this, like, fucking wasabi, what everybody in Asia eats on a daily basis, this is what my body can't handle. It's just weird.
I'm broken.
Yeah, that's right.
JH Che in the audience in the chat knows what I'm talking about. He says, "Yep, in Korea, spicy going in, spicy going out." Man, so there was this. So there's a place in Seoul called Hannam, and in Hannam there was this squid and pork and squid restaurant, and it was this super red. It was just fire, but it was good. You know how some spicy stuff is not just hot, but it's tasty.
Yeah, the good flavor type of. Actually, funny enough, like I got a bag of Doritos here, the Tapatio ones. That's exactly that. That's like the good flavor type of stuff.
Those are good. Anyway, the point is you eat this stuff and it's so good, and then all right, you have and I'd always drink like a Sprite or something like that with it, but no shit, like. Within 8 to 12 hours, oh my God, it's like you'd take a regular fucking dump and it's hot. I mean, it's fucking burning your ass coming out, man. Oh,
it's like the It's like that episode of South Park when they talked about Chipotle's. Have you ever had it? Yeah, it tastes great. He goes, well, why would you eat it if it's giving you, you wouldn't say underwear or whatever? And then he goes, why do you eat it? Have you ever had it, Kyle? It's amazing.
No, I know that's the same thing with me with Twizzlers. Like something in Twizzlers like just makes me sick. Like I cannot eat. I mean, if I eat one pack, I'm just nauseated, but two, I'm throwing up. Yeah. I still eat them. I mean, just one or two at a time. But I mean, I just like the way they taste. Like, yeah, I know it makes me feel like I'm gonna puke, and sometimes I do, but it tastes good. It doesn't taste as good on the way back out. I mean, I'll admit that, but I found as long as I limit it, it's fine. I mean, strawberries too. Actually, I'm actually allergic to strawberries, but as long as I only have like 2 or 3 of them, that's fine.
I don't know if you and I could be friends if you can't eat strawberries, man.
Oh, I can. I do eat strawberries. I don't care. I mean, I could deal with the itchy rash for the next few days. I'll be
just coat them in chocolate, man. Dark chocolate. That's the way to go with strawberries.
He's like, my lips are swollen for like a week and a half. He's like, that's all right. Only 1 or 2. I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, see, it's if it tastes good, you gotta bust out the scale. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna suffer for a little while, but I'm used to it by now.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's all good times.
I did it a while with Chipotle's, and then I got to my breaking point. Like, no, I can't anymore. Every time I eat it, I'm just sick.
No, actually, that's me when I try to eat out in general.
Yeah.
Or especially, I used to love Domino's breadsticks. They're older ones before they changed to those bread twists. And what actually got me to stop eating those is I watched them make it once. Because I ordered for pickup, and I was just sitting there at the store, and I watched the breadsticks roll off the broiler, and then that's about nothing unusual here. So then the guy put the breadsticks in the box, then he takes out the grease bottle. And just putting the grease on them and putting the grease on them. Oh, man. And he's still dumping the grease on it. Wow. Yeah, and yes, he's still dumping that grease. And I'm like, oh my God, no wonder those taste so good and make me feel so sick, and I'm never eating that again.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't get off the topic of grease because I've got a great large story. That being said, can I just say that if I ever have to live in a dystopian apocalyptic society, I hope it's the city of Venus. Have you been, as you've been flipping through these images, have you been like paying attention to how these gals are dressed and just how like on point they are?
Oh my God, it's so unrealistic.
I love this book. I loved it. Like you and I were on EVS's channel for I think the first time together when he finally started doing Comic Save Live again, and I remember. I think I had seen maybe like that image or one of your promo images, but that night was the first time I saw, and I've been a big fan of that book ever since.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, man, I surprised the hell out of him too because he thought I was going to be promoting my art book campaign, and like the next day I go on, I'm like, he's like, you got a sketchbook and art book or something, right? I'm like, that was yesterday. I got this. He goes, what's this? Yeah. And then when he went live, he was like, holy shit, Vinny T can draw women. Wow.
I kind of wish I had gotten the art book, man. That looks pretty. The art book is what actually it wasn't the imagery and the that made me think of you for that pinup or the cover. It was I found some of your the stuff from the art book. This was not too long ago, and I was like, Denny, I need to get a hold of him.
Hit me up in DMs. I can give you a break on it. I mean, because I know, the art book is an exclusive to this campaign, the Volume 2 one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I have it as a featured tier. But yeah, man, because
I might have to back that tier.
Yeah, hey, you let me know.
Oh, where is that? Oh yeah, it's $50. Comic book Volume 2 art book. There you go.
Yeah, that's 52 pages, and I got like everything in there from superhero stuff to portraits to pinups. All your favorite kind of things in fandom are in there. But
oh yeah, I guess the 1 and 2, both the 1 and 2 art books are done. So, is there still any way to get the Volume 1 art books?
Yeah, you pass it down there. There is still a link for the volume 1. It's its own separate campaign. The tier that sold out was all 3 books and a head sketch. So
okay, so that will be this link here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if I click it, it's not going to pull up anyway, since only this tab is being shown. So.
Okay.
Although actually, Nate, we can just leave this campaign. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I usually open up other tabs, but yeah, okay, cool. So you can get volumes 1 and 2 still. There is a way.
Yeah, many guys in this one. I'm not interested.
Yeah, but it looks like that's Lara Croft, right? Yeah.
That's Explorer Girl. Yeah. Come on.
Explorer Girl. That's right.
That's Clown Girl. That's Lady with the Cat. Yeah. That's Big Boss Man. Mr. Mutton Chops.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. These aren't copyrighted characters. Yeah, good point. Yeah, they're just inspired by them.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So you can see all the kind of how diversified I am in my portfolio. Because I mean, with all the campaigns that I did, that was the thing too, right? It was I wanted to show people what I could do. So it was the art books. Then I did a children's book as well. But that one's not live, the children's book. That was literally, it was just for Halloween. But the people who got it absolutely loved it. But yeah, again, that campaign even ran for a really short amount of time. So I might re-release that in another year or something. But, I wanted to make that one special.
Yeah.
Since it is kind of, it's a very small market anyway. But yeah, the comics is where I'm at, and that's why I have like City of Venus, Through the Woods is coming back. I have the pirate book that's going to be launching later in the year, City of Venus 2. I got a lot on my plate.
Nice. Sounds like you'll be busy. Now I see what are the odds of Joe Quesada tracing this Mr. Mutton Chops here for some future Marvel projects, though?
I think it's very small because I think he's going to get his ass completely fired. They keep demoting him. They didn't fire him straight up because it's for the stockholders, right?
So actually, let's hope it is any Marvel artist, because then you can prove damages and Marvel will be liable.
Yeah, I mean, unlike previously. Yeah, because previously you just submitted your work, and I mean, I don't know if they still do that. But I mean, the past couple of times I've seen any submissions open for anything, they always have some caveat there that's like, oh, we own everything you submit to us or something like that, because they don't want to have it so that you submit something to them and then they reject you, and then 10 years later they do something similar and now you can sue them because they stole your idea. So
yeah, there's so much shit, and it's the thing too. If it's like changed 20%. Like they could get away with it, and with their power lawyers, there's always ways that they fucking weasel shit. That's why I rather just do my own stuff. Like I'm done drawing mainstream characters. I'm sticking with my stuff that's copywritten. If anyone tries anything, then I'll sue their asses.
No, and the one thing you got to worry about though is, because I covered this a few times as well, is what these big companies do is even if you take them to court, they just stall. I mean, if there's a 100% chance they're going to lose, then they just stall until you run out of money. Like that literally is their strategy.
That's what happened with the writer from Ghost Rider, Gary Frederick. That dude, he was having a lawsuit with them, and they were trying to bury him. He had medical issues. He had a whole bunch of stuff. That's why I had done a Ghost Rider piece, and the writer from 30 Days of Night. He with Steve Nile, I believe his name is. He was doing something. He was trying to help, and he had like a petition for people to sign, and anyone who wanted to donate artwork. So I gave him that piece, and Gary got to see it. Him and his wife. They said they were in tears when they saw it. I said I'm all about the creators. Fuck Marvel. Even from back then. This was a few years back. He's since passed, but yeah, they kept dragging it out and bleeding him dry. That's what they do to creators who are making all this, all these amazing books and the fucking movies and anything else you're doing with these characters. That's how you treat them.
Yeah.
That's
while you're here, Vinny, I mean, I'm sure the chat would love to hear your take on this, because I've noticed that, and this, I think Ethan has touched on this here and there, that one problem that they have, right? I mean, notice how whenever some guy who's a big name in the established industry does a crowdfunder, they get like nothing, like no support. And that's because they, ever since Image, both Marvel and DC seem to be intentionally crippling their creators so that there's no risk of that ever happening again. It's like, oh no, you guys are nothing without our brand. You will be dependent on us.
Yeah, I think they're trying to put that fear into them. But there's some people, if they are good and they're not being vocal, like, you know, like Gail Simone or any of those kind of people, if they're not vocal, like Sean Gordon Murphy, he's nice with everyone on both sides because he's taken the professional road and he's done crowdfunding on a couple of projects, and then he went back to the mainstream. He even he had the option to work on Batman before Greg Capullo, and he turned it away because he had a creator-owned project, Punk Rock Jesus. He goes, no, I want to tell my story, and he was in the middle of it. He continued to do it, and then afterwards, a couple of years later, they got him to do a Batman story, right? And then, but he's jumping back and forth. This year, he's gonna do his Indiegogo campaign, and I think he's gonna do amazing with it. Now, I'm saying he's like a special case compared to like what you're saying. I think you're right. Other people who are attached to gigantic projects or whatever, the companies are putting them in their place, you know, or they're making them say shit too, so that if they do branch out, they are going to fall on their face when it comes to crowdfunding their own projects.
You know, or another thing I see is, you know, you got a good writer and artist paired up and a good editor, and they're making just bank. They're creating awesome products. Like the executives see that and they're like, oh, we better split this team up. We can't let them get too full of themselves. We can't risk them leaving us and starting their own stuff. Like with Image, we're going to have to keep them dependent on us.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely valid, and that's one of the reasons why they'll never comics. You know, for those companies, until they lose that mentality, will never be as good as they can be.
I don't think they care. I mean, they're just sitting there like, oh, you know, AT&T and Disney are going to pay us until they get shut down.
Well, that's what happened with the editors. They don't give a shit. They're not doing their jobs because they have stock options now. So that's why you see them on Instagram posting up stupid images of their collection that's not even Marvel related, right? Or like CB Silvesky, he's a foodie, so everything he's got to be about food and his cats. This is a joke, is what they're doing, man. They don't give a shit about that stuff. They're just Hollywood, especially that they have Kevin Feige in there now. It's just, we're going to try to push the characters that we want to promote in film and television or wherever else. We're using the publication part as just like where we could cherry pick. The stories don't really matter. None of it matters. So they don't care.
Yeah, and even worse is when you notice some of these people tweeting like 400 times a day on a work day. What work could they possibly be doing?
Oh, yeah. Dude. Hold on. Did you see the credits in the Captain America book? They got the credits wrong.
What? Who did they miscredit?
They gave credit to Stan Lee for creating Captain America. I mean, they don't even know their fucking jobs, dude. For something like that to slip.
Oh, or what happened to Starlin with Thanos? You know, they had two identical stories running at the same time. Like they just nobody caught on.
You know, imagine if Marvel had the DC pay structure, Jim Starlin would be a rich man, but he's not because they don't give a shit.
Yeah, no. Instead, they're profiting off of all his work, while he's got nothing.
There is some irony to getting SJW leftists to defend corporate, massive corporations, because in the old days it used to be like, oh, the corporations are evil. Well, now they love the corporations.
Oh yeah, I mean, not just with Marvel and DC, but big tech too. Like they love seeing big tech censor everybody. Yeah.
They gotta have their iPads and their iPhones.
Oh no, yeah. That's the funniest. I mean, this is a meme because it's true. That whole like fuck capitalism sent from my iPhone X.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, did you see that with the iPhone X? They said it's got the most radiation than any phone on the market.
Well, that explains Apple fanboys. Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. I haven't used Apple in a long time, and that's even their computers. When they still had that Power PC architecture, they were actually Apple was actually worth the extra cost in some cases. But now you're paying like twice as much for what if you get an equivalent hardware and just build your own PC, you could save like 50% or more.
Yeah, no. So like back in the '90s, the Power PC was where it was at for like graphic designers and things like that. But I mean, that's I hate to say it, but I think Apple is computer socialism. So I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, not now. Or especially, I mean, there's no hope for them anymore though. Because yeah. Remember when Wozniak and Jobs like started the company? And then it became big. They was pretty successful. And then Steve Jobs was forced out of his own company. I mean, this is a risk you take if you go public. By the way, you no longer own it; the shareholders do. So, yeah, he got kicked out of his own company. And then they almost were driven into bankruptcy, and they practically begged Steve Jobs to come back, and he did. Created the iPod, brought the company back from the dead. And now that Steve Jobs left again and Apple's failing again, something tells me they're not going to be able to convince him to come back a second time.
Well, Steve Jobs did.
Yeah, I know. That's why they're not going to be able to get him to come back again.
He can't.
Unless they research necromancy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they probably did. That's why it came back to first. Speaking of creators, like I hate to toot my own horn here, but let me talk about some of the creators because I'm not an awesome artist like Vinny is. Vinny is a talented artist. Yeah, but I am an idea guy, and I had to put these ideas in these talented artists' heads. So let me tell you about who I have working on the book. So that if you want to scroll down from the main page, So all right, so let me start with the print. So the print is the latest addition to the team. Go a little lower. Yeah, right there. That's the print. So this is Gabo Elias, and he is the super talented guy. And he, fingers crossed, nothing signed or anything like that, but he will be the interior artist for the next book after this one. My interior artist on the first book is a kid named Ian Waryanto, and he's this Indonesian kid that I've known for on and off for 5 years, mostly through social media. But we always wanted to do something together, and this was finally our opportunity. And he's been awesome to work with. I was actually giving notes on page 38 today, so we're 10 pages shy of having the book done. There's going to be if you want to check out if anybody in the chat buys the book tonight, you will get my update. Probably will go out tomorrow, and it's going to have a link to a 24-page preview copy of the book. So the first 24 pages I'm going to release out, and it'll have a nice big watermark on it. So when you see it pirated, a year from now, you'll know where it came from. But it's essentially like a floppy of, a floppy length story. It gives you a good idea of a lot of the, what's going on. None of the kick-ass action from the second half of the story. It's all the kind of initial action set up and some of the character pieces.
Now, talking about the action, I remember I watched you on a stream a while ago. So are they like trying to get some spirits to possess a tank or something? Because that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Let me just kind of, I probably should be more anti-spoiler, but you know what? It's a cool story and I want to tell people about it. So the idea is there's this cult and you're kind of picking up the story in the middle of the action. And they're taking down this cult. They're looking for actionable intel. So the hit in the beginning of the book is not a dry hole. They do find some intel, but ultimately it sends them to the next piece. So they've got all this reach back capability in the States, and you kind of see some of that. And what does magical intelligence look like? So you get a feel for that piece of the world. And then, they find out what they need to know there. So they find the location for the final thing, and the final thing, they do a little recon, and then they do the hit. And that's like the second half of the book is the assault on the compound of this. It's an old, abandoned factory in the Ukraine. And so what they find is this cult has dug up a King Tiger tank from World War II that was essentially these Nazi mages back in the closing days of World War II put this spirit, this demon spirit into the tank, and then put a spell on the tank to basically knock it out, and then they buried it. It was one of these kind of like comeback weapons that they could use at some point. But anyway, it never was used, and the cult found out about this, and they have found this tank. And so our heroes have to get in there and essentially, fix the problem, kill the cultists, gain control of this weapon so that it can't be used for, evil. Well, that sounds great and all, but it's not going to go that smooth. So it's, I've showed some of the character design. Actually, I can show your audience that I haven't shown this in a while.
Oh, and actually, while we're on the topics, I'm seeing in the chats, I'm seeing a shut up and take my money. So there you go. I'm posting the link in the chat again, so you can give him some money. And like Scott just said, this book is like 10 pages away from done too. So
yeah, I mean, it's close. We're not there yet, but if you're interested, like I said, if you were to back it tonight, the update will probably go out tomorrow, and that'll have the link to the first half of the book. So you'll get something for your money immediately. In that case, let me come back in and let me share my screen.
Oh, so while you're pulling that up, I see it there now. Cool. So are you gonna leave it in demand like Vinny is after it's done, or are you just gonna close it down as soon as you just so your printer knows how much to print and all that?
Well, so yeah, I based on how many we sell and what the final kind of when I'm ready to go to. So this is the character design for the Panzer Demon, like in its final form. This is done by Alejandro Mirabal. He is a fantastic artist that is within CG, and we're so lucky to have just immensely talented folks like this. And so I saw his book is called Long Harbor, and he's been talking about reopening, and I think he will once he finishes it. I know he was falling behind because, I mean, as you can see, his artwork is very detailed. Anyway, so the point is that that this has just been a great team, and this has been such a good experience. I probably won't make any money on this thing, but it's looking like it's going to pay for itself. So I've been really lucky in that regard.
So I got to ask, just judging by how this design looks, is it by chance going to like burst out of the chest of the tank?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I don't know if I want to get into exactly how that happens because it's kind of a suspenseful moment. But ultimately, if you start with a tank and you end up with this.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess the arms, you can kind of tell there's a little bit of mechanical bits to it. Yeah. So
a different world. This is an alien. This is not like that's one of the, and that's for anybody who's read a lot of cosmic horror, H.P. Lovecraft, things like that. That his horrors are not just horrific like ghosts and things like that, but they are completely alien to our world. They are not, they're not something that's related to the Judeo-Christian tradition. They are completely alien, and that's the reason why they just don't get along very well with us.
So we're not just like food to them. Like it's just they're in. Is it indifference or what? Yeah.
So that's one of the hallmarks of cosmic horror is that it's not that they hate you; it's that they just don't care.
They look at you the same way you look at the ants on the sidewalk when you're walking to work.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And that's the whole kind of existential angst that kind of comes through cosmic horror, So it's it's all about that kind of, Alien meets Warhammer 40K. I'll be honest with you. If you're a fan of Warhammer 40K, I take a lot of inspiration for Doorkickers from that. Actually, I see this team as almost like an inquisitorial team that has to use like both the powers of the warp and the powers of technology to go after these things. And so I'm a huge Warhammer 40K fan. So if you like Warhammer 40K and you read this, you'll see parallels as far as some of the stuff.
Yeah, and look, they're even going up against a Necron Tyranid. So
that's right. Yeah. That's right. Let not the xenomorph to live. So anyway, so I'll stop sharing my screen here. But I'm just so proud of the team that I've been able to surround myself with. I mean, it's just that's one of the great things about being in CG. It's not just the cool people in CG, but it's the cool people you get to work with in these books. And I've just been so lucky. One other person I want to shout out is the colorist. And so her name is Farah Nurmaliza, and she is amazing. This is the first, kind of solo book that she's ever done. I think she worked for a Indonesian colorist, coloring, work, like one of those, shop things, studios where they have a bunch of people working under a studio name. So she worked with one of those places, and, she's a very talented digital painter. She also does watercolor painting on her own. So, like I said, I just can't. Oh, and the last one I want to shout out, I already talked about Narwhal, but the green cover, actually, if you go down a little bit, we can see that. Yeah. All right. So right here. Yeah. This is my cover A. And so this is Ted Lehman, and Ted is awesome. So I was on, I want to say it was Clint Stoker, the Sweetcast show, and Ted did a drawing, and well, wait a second. No, he didn't. He contacted me. So I basically said something like, "Oh, I wish people would do fan art for Doorkickers," because I hadn't put out the campaign yet, but I had this 10-page free preview comic that I was kind of sending everybody who joined my mailing list. And Ted's like, "Oh, I'll do some fan art," and so he does this fan art, and he mailed it to me for free. I didn't pay, I didn't give him money or anything. And I was so blown away. Actually, it wasn't this one. It was a different one. I have it right here. I don't know if you can see that.
Wait up. No, keep it up. I'm gonna put you full screen.
All right. There you go. Let me get the glare off. Anyway, so it's like two guys come up the stairs and like some kind of nasty thing getting ready to drop down on them, right? So yeah. And so he sent this to me, and I was like, about the same time I got this, he posted another drawing on Twitter, and I said, "You're hired. I want you to do a cover for me." And so he did, and we worked together on the layout to kind of get it right. And I gave him a lot of gear reference and things like that. And as you can see, he can do gear. He can do detail very well.
Now, this is one of those things I'm sure you and your boy Zack would really get along on, because he's a huge stickler for the gear too. It's like, no, that doesn't look like an M16. What the hell is that shit? Like, no, this is an M16. Yeah,
absolutely. I totally respect. I mean, he and I's background, we've both been military, deployed as infantrymen. So, I mean, we kind of come from a similar backgrounds, except for I would have never been a Marine. Clearly, he corrected that mistake by joining the Army, so that was good on him. But anyway, so the thing about the gear for me is that most of your audience, most of my audience aren't going to know one type of gun from another, right? I mean, they just look cool, so that's what's important. But ultimately, the idea is guys who have been there and done that, and there's a lot of us kind of kicking around nowadays after 20 years of war, that if a guy who's been there and done that picks up Doorkickers and starts looking at it, I want him to be like, yep, that's right. That's right. The thing that takes me out of the moment is like when I see a movie or something like that, and I see like, oh, the scope's on upside down, or it's backwards. The scope is backwards. I can't believe this. And it totally takes me out of the moment, right? Because they just didn't get the easy stuff right. And so that's what I want. Like one of my buddies, told me, I was sent out a couple of preview pages like, hey, what do you think of this? And he said, well, it looks like the guy's fingers on the trigger. And I was like, oh, you're right. Fuck. It's like little things like that I'm trying to get right. So, and it's tough, you're working with an artist that doesn't know anything about this. So you have to be very specific for certain things, like, keeping your finger off the trigger when you're not shooting, things like that. That's just the kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's just the kind of detail I'm trying to bring to this project. And it's been a lot of fun kind of working some of that stuff in. But at the same time, you have to cut some of the realism out, because if you put everything in there, nobody wants to sit through a 2-hour briefing, by the numbers. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although in this case, maybe if you get an artist, I mean, yeah, the guy who did this clearly already knew, right? So yeah, that's useful.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, and I was really surprised. I thought Ted was going to be a young guy, and when I finally started chatting with him more, come to find out he's like a year older than me. So there's just a lot of people with a lot of hidden talents that are coming out into CG, and it's bringing awesome stuff out.
He's a really good dude too. Like he's backed a lot of my stuff. He's been very supportive towards all of Comicsgate, which is incredible. But yeah, it's like Scott was saying. I mean, there's a lot of amazing people, and they come out of nowhere, and they've been helping us. My friend Red Gaze, he did my trailers on my campaigns. I had this guy Ted Zagaro. He just did an amazing new promo for Through the Woods. Such a professional. Oh my God. It looks absolutely amazing. Kelsey Shannon, he did one. Your audience will probably love it.
Oh yeah. No, we know who Kelsey is around here. He's cool.
Yeah. Did you see the promo he did for me?
Oh wait. Is it on your page?
Yeah, it's on the campaign.
Yeah, because I mean, we looked at the cover he did. But is it one of the video? Oh yeah, the Through the Woods promo, was it that one? Yeah, I could I could pull that up here real quick. Let me just have to stop and restart it though.
Yeah, because he surprised me out of nowhere with that. Like I wasn't expecting it. He sent me because I did it for your brother with he was hyped it, ha ha ha. I'm like, what did you send me? As soon as I started going, that's going on the campaign, and then he couldn't stop laughing.
And this is one of the best things too. I mean, like with both of you guys. I mean, it was the same thing with us. I mean, some artists that we're going to continue working with, we were only it started out with fan art. Like they just 15,928. Yeah, so wow. It started out with just fan art. You send a fan art, and both me and my artist were like, holy shit, this is good. We're gonna have to snap this guy up before someone else does. Get him to do some work.
Yeah, dude, it's really, really just such cool stuff. That's the Ted Zagaro one. This thing is so professional.
Yes. Yeah, so actually, wait, which one was? Oh, this is the Kelsey one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I did see that. Okay. So I'm gonna let me know if you can hear it.
Back.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Now I'll play the whole thing. And I'll make it full screen.
Back through the woods today on Indiegogo.
Whenever I play it, I usually play it like 3 or 4 times for everybody.
Yeah,
awesome.
That is a good that's a good advertisement right there. I gotta say that showed off some of the awesome backstory you have going on there. Yeah,
which was hilarious because I like that grindhouse thing that he went with, with the music and all that. And then someone like Ted Zagaro, that second one, that's straight up that's a professional promo that's in your face, has everything there. It's quick.
Let's play that one.
Yeah, actually, we may as well just play them all. They could go back to Doorkickers and play that one. Yeah, I'll do it all in a row.
Mine's fan made too.
Hey.
It's so cool.
I don't know how this guy did it, man. It's got the energy, it's got everything that it needs, because that's the story is so good. That's why I can't wait for people to read it. The people who got it on the first go around were very impressed. But yeah, and Red Gaze, yeah, he did this one, which I mean, I don't even have to pitch it. I just play this, and and people know what it's about.
Oh man, actually, both of you guys are going pretty well right now. Yeah, I mean, you're almost at 16K, and Scott's almost at 13. Yeah,
Dude,
12,963.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just gonna play this now. Let us see what happens. There we go. Yeah, finally the freaking text left. And there's gonna be a lot of panels where they focus on the important bits, if you know what I mean.
Oh, don't you know we know?
From Frankie and Vinnie Tartamella comes Through the Woods, the collected edition. This edition compiles the 3-issue miniseries into one solid volume for fans of Through the Woods and newcomers alike. Written by Frankie Tartamella and fully illustrated and assembled by Vinnie Tartamella, Through the Woods is an esoteric ghost story that will leave you haunted yet fulfilled. Follow investigative reporter Laura Langley as she unearths the tragic history of her newly inherited home and cabin in North Hudson, New York. This is a tale that started 100 years earlier, when this very land was a loggers' camp in the early 1900s. Laura's investigation finds her learning of her family's past and accidentally reawakens a restless spirit. Find out what else is haunting the pages of this completed series. If you missed the first campaign, this is the perfect chance to get your hands on this epic ghost story. This is the fable of an investigative journalist caught in the middle of a ghost story. A tale that started 100 years ago. Don't miss this second chance to take a midnight stroll through the woods.
What's the worst that could happen?
Back it now.
You know, and it is a dark story. That's why I put a little bit of cheesecake here and there in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good. You guys will really like it.
Oh yeah, no, it's the same thing with Blade Devil. Actually, we've had some. We can't show certain things because of spoilers. We're already showing a lot, but there are a few things we can't show. And I've had some comments like, it looks pretty tame. Like, oh, you haven't seen all the good gory bits yet.
Yeah.
The kind of stuff that's going to get people throwing up when they read it. Yeah, we didn't show that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, this was supposed to be a horror story, and we went a little more suspense and ghost. But by issue 3, I had put a little bit of horror back into it. So yeah, like I'm dying to show that's what's in the last part, but I can't, like you said, because there's spoilers in it, big spoilers. So.
Yeah, we kind of hit that point with Blade Devil where after page 20. Yeah, it's massive spoilers there. So my artist has actually been putting in some extra work, just editing some panels. Like we could probably use this panel, but just edit the spoiler out.
Yeah.
Just remove that shit. Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes it's just like the smallest thing, like that last panel we teased yesterday, or that I put out on Twitter today. It's just a tiny thing, just a little bit, but it was enough to be a very major spoiler if people saw it. So.
Yeah. It's difficult because you want to be able to sell it, but yeah, if you give away the goods, it's like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, we want to give away, I'd say maybe half of it. But if you give away everything, no one has any reason to get it anymore. It's like, oh yeah, you know what? You've seen everything. You know everything that happens. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, cool. So now I can now we need to switch tabs again. Hey, if we want volume, we do it the fun way.
You're right.
Otherwise, we get echo. So yeah. Okay, and now, oh crap! If only I clicked the correct tab. There you go. Okay, that works. And there's also 2 movies. Yeah, two videos.
So the first one is the trailer, and then the second one is this like deep lore video that this one of those, what are the creepypasta kind of websites?
SCP, I think.
Yeah, well, anyway,
yeah.
They took my kind of like a background document that tells the background of this organization, and they create a story on it.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna actually just start with the first one then.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, no, just one backer away pretty much from 13K, man. So let's see if this does it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Doorkickers, Panzer Demon is the debut 48-page graphic novel of the adventures of the Wildfire Team, 6 special operators in the Shadow War against eldritch terror and cosmic horror. When diabolical cults and covens look to break the fragile shield holding the demonic back from our realm, they step in to ensure those doors stay closed. Find it only on Indiegogo.
Nice and to the point. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all this on the farm. By Orwell Lane, just off Orwell Lane. He's the guy who did that. For me, it was just, he just kind of out of nowhere did that. This one is 20 minutes long, so you don't want to play that one.
Oh yeah. I know, that's a good point. What I can do is I can just open this off screen. And did you guys hear any of that? I just want to make sure it's only on this one tab.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess that's how StreamYard works. All right, I'll post this in the chat. You guys could follow it on the campaign anyway, but there's the YouTube link to that video. Oh yeah, it is. What was that? 22 minutes. Nice.
It's deep lore. It's the history of this organization, things like that. The kind of stuff that nobody absolutely needs to know for the story, but it's just that's the kind of stuff that I created. Kind of a story Bible for the. It's based off of that. They of course made it's some sort of a WikiLeaks kind of thing. So it's pretty interesting. I liked it.
Cool.
Professional voice actor who does the audio, so it's very listenable.
Yeah. See, that's the one thing. When we put our trailer out in March, there's not going to be any fucking idiot ass rednecks talking over it. Like, nope, just look at the art, listen to the music. That's all you need to do.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear me talk over that. Like, maybe if you show up to my stream, you want to hear that for a little bit, but not when you're looking at big anime titties. Like, that's the last thing you want to hear is me. Yeah. But then I don't know. I've seen people with some weird fetishes though, so I guess I'm not going to ask.
Oh, I know, man. Tell me that.
You have your fans.
Yeah. That's right.
We all have our own, right?
Yeah. No, like the weird. No, if you want to talk about weirds, like there are. There's some anime that they cover like real life people, right? Like world leaders, for example. Even Trump has appeared in some, for example. Mm-hmm. So every once in a while it happens that there's like some anime characters or manga characters that are based that actually are real life people become popular enough, like they get their own body pillows. So imagine walking into somebody's house and there's a body pillow of you on their bed. How awkward would that be?
That's funny.
Yeah. or just seeing that it exists. Like you're just scrolling the internet and you see it's like, what the hell? Is that a Vinnie Tortorella body pillow? What?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
You're like, where do I get one?
I get I mean, a buyer. Oh my god.
Yeah, that would just be the weirdest thing, man.
Yeah, apologies, Scott, why I'm not on cam tonight, because I am working, so you'd be seeing the side of my face, but next time I'll go on for you.
Oh yeah, I still got to finish getting the setup here so I can start using my camera.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm waiting to get my new mask in too, because the one I had last time I was on Ethan's show, it's great, but it only has like this little tiny mouth hole. So I had to get a straw just so I can drink during my stream, which is really funny.
Well, you with your campaign, you could get away with a waifu. That could be like a perk, a tier or something.
A body pillow tier, yeah. Actually, no, we were, and then I see that you guys know shops like Teespring and Crypto Fashion and all that, right? Where they,
absolutely.
Yeah, so what I love about those websites is they do the fulfillment and everything for you. I mean, obviously you get way less of a cut than if you did it yourself, but the point is, like, you put your stuff up and then you forget about it. They just send you checks every time, right. and they do everything. Now, I mean, in my case, I've had to act as customer support a few times because sometimes they send the wrong thing. And they don't go to Teespring support first. They go to me. So I have to tell them, I just contact Teespring support and they'll send you a new one. It's all good. This happens sometimes. But yeah, that's it. That's all the work. Oh, wow. But I would love for there to be something like that for like those booby mouse pads and body pillows and all that. But unfortunately, there isn't. So I'd have to, I found some places that make those. So the way I'd have to do it is I'd have to make my own and then maybe get like a minimum order of 50 of them and sell them myself, which, it is doable, but yeah, you're right. That may very well be something we have in the campaign, at the very least as its own separate tier.
The other thing you can do is, remember, if you can get it in a Gemini mailer, like if you can get it in a box like this, like a mouse pad or something like that would work with something like this. If you can get it in this, then you can ship it yourself with the same flat shipping that you would, it's kind of like, like that's the reason why 3 books is the same to ship 1 book, because you're doing, it's just by weight, when you're not having to buy a different package or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. And I know. I actually used to work in a mailroom, so yeah. So I know. I know things like flat rate boxes and all that too. If it all fits in the same flat rate box, it's all good.
Yeah, and that's it with us too, doing media mail. Because like I have a box it's not a Gemini mailer, but it's a cardboard box. It's like 1 inch thick. Yeah, as long as you pack it properly, with bubble wrap and everything, everything's fine with that.
Oh yeah. I know. There's been a little bit of drama around media mail about what can be shipped, what can't be. Yeah. So I think as long as the book has an ISBN number, I think that was the consensus. So when you're getting it printed, get an ISBN on it, and then that they should. Because I know they're full of shit if they tell you that it's got to have a certain word to picture ratio. It's like, nope, that's bullshit. Even in your own policy, it just, I think there's a minimum page limit. I think it's really low, like 12 or something. So like minimum pages, and it has to have an ISBN. That's literally it. Right. And I know you can ship other print material like stickers, bookmarks, things like that. But a mouse pad may be pushing it.
You're not supposed to have ads in it.
Yeah. But
that's what they've been asking me too. They said, you have ads, and I said, no ads, no. Yeah, it's just the story itself. But yeah, with the hardcover, I have an ISBN number on that as well, so I'm good. I'm good to go. I saw something funny in your chat when you guys were talking about the pillows. I think it was V said, first issue plus Vinny's body pillow plus his bath water.
Oh yeah, no, we already have the gamer girl bath water. Now we can have the comic artist bath water.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Hey, comic girl with that Star Wars girl, man, she could probably sell her bathwater.
Oh, she probably could, man. No, people, like, if it was one of us doing it, they'd be paying us to not ship the bathwater. It's like, no, I'll pay an extra $50 if you don't put that crap in there.
And I think Kelsey would, if she had that option somewhere, he would buy it all.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe you'd take a bath in it.
Oh God, yeah. No, so she limited 300. Kelsey just orders them all.
So that's
Done.
No, actually, wait. I don't think Indiegogo lets you order multiple quantities in the same order.
I don't think so.
Yeah. That would be rough. I mean, he'd have to do all 300 one at a time and hope nobody else gets one in the meantime.
If you did it as an add-on, you could probably do it that way. I think you could do multiple add-ons.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I mean, I'm building my campaign now. I don't think I'm going to be doing the add-ons just because, I mean, Cecil did it, and apparently for the first couple hours cash grab was up, nobody could see the add-ons, and I couldn't see it either. I backed it within the first hour. I couldn't see them, but then I could later when I came back. It was, I mean, unless he just misconfigured it or something. But
I still have to back that.
Yeah, no, cash grab was. I mean, I can't wait. I mean, he was streaming earlier, and I messaged him. It's like, dude, I backed this yesterday. Why hasn't the book arrived yet? And his response, he was like, no, check your mailbox. Whatever's in there is all you're gonna get. Like, perfect. Yes, that's the perfect response.
I love Cecil. He's the best.
Yeah, and the fact that he could come up with that crap like on the fly. Yeah, he's the real deal.
Yeah, we had a great conversation on my channel, dude. I love him. He's one of the best people out there. Hands down.
Raking golden bathwater.
Yeah, but see, my bathwater is going to be golden for another reason.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Hey, brother, I gotta go. I'm turning into a pumpkin. I gotta go to work tomorrow. So I really want to appreciate you and your chat.
13:33 before you leave. At least at the very end, we made it past that mark.
Did we make it?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Man, yeah, thank you so much to your audience, and appreciate you. I had a great time on here, Vinny. I'm so glad we got to be on another stream together. You and I, we need to talk
For sure.
Talk fun and talk business, man.
Yeah, swing by my channel sometime too, man. We'll do another spotlight on you.
Well, oddly enough, I'm gonna have time, I think, here in the next 2 months because I have to go on a trip, and when I'm away from my family, it makes it easier to be on these things. So
okay,
I hate to say, but yeah. So all right, brother, I appreciate it. Rain you Gold Eagle, you're the man. I'll be back here anytime you ask. So if you ever need somebody to come in on one of these things, let me know, and I'll have by the next time I come back, I guarantee I'll have art and an announcement on the next book that I'll be involved in, and it's busty female superhero. So that's all I'm leaving you with.
Oh yeah,
yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah. I appreciate you for having me. Thanks a lot.
Have a good night.
See you later.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Oh God, yeah, Vinny. I know it's past midnight where you are. So and Ricada's streaming anyway. I don't know how much longer you wanted to go on, but we can end off should you so wish.
Yeah, if you want just a few more minutes or whatnot, that's fine too. Like I said, I just been working while we've been chatting, so I'm all good.
No, I'm actually so damn jealous of artists for that. Because, I mean, my artist is the same way. Like, he's just working during streams all the damn time, and I'm sitting there. And I try, but then, trying to write something while I'm listening to other people talk and do other stuff. It's like, no, I can't do that.
That's difficult. But yeah, I don't do it all the time. Like, especially if I have my camera on, I'm not doing work. And I know a lot of people want to see the artist or the person who's usually doing this kind of stuff.
You're at 1633 as well.
Look at that. The 33. We should put that on a Powerball ticket.
Yeah, that's right. You got it. Although maybe that's the one you should avoid, since you got it twice now. I
don't know. I rather look at it as good luck because it went up. It didn't go down.
Yeah, that's true. It did. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's all the power of plot and backstory right there.
For sure, man. Like I said, I put up some of the cheesecake kind of stuff on the campaign because it helps sell it. But I want to give there is great stuff to look at. It's not just an awesome story. You have the hotness. It's there because I'm sorry, comics is a visual format. You should have strong lead characters, hot women, I'm old school, so that's what I want to see when I pick up a book. I want to see an awesome story. I want to see visuals that's going to appeal to the masses, and yeah, that's what I go with.
Oh yeah, and that's I've mentioned this on my stream before too. That I mean, you can't have just tits and ass, because at that point you may as well just watch porn if that's all you're giving. So you got to have something else, but it's the tits and ass that makes people give your project a deeper look in the first place. That's what gets them in. Yeah, and then you need something to keep them in.
Yeah, it's going to grab their attention, because like when you pick up this book and you start flipping through it, I mean, that's not what's going to stand out automatically, right? You'll notice that she's hot, and like the way that I draw her, because I like to draw women kind of curvy anyway, so it's just the way that she carries herself. That's what I'm thinking about when I do these characters. Even the big guy, like how he carries himself. I want that stoic look. I try to break down each character. The environments, like it should all flow perfectly, because I'm in most cases I am like the director, I'm the actor, I'm the lighting. Like I approach my work like that, right? Because it's got to be very cinematic to me, because that's what I like to see when I pick up books. The great story, but the great story through pictures as well. Everything should be clear, fun to read, and that's kind of what I'm about with this stuff.
Yeah, and what you just said, that's what I was saying earlier too, that we need more actual fans of the medium being creators as well. Mm-hmm. Because if you as a fan yourself, in addition to a professional artist, what you want to see when you read another book, and the shit, what you like, what you hate.
Yep.
And that's what we need. I mean, as opposed to these bean counters, all they know is to call a focus group together and just do what they tell them.
Exactly, man. And just I'm gonna do a stream. I think I'm just gonna have the Vinny Rage stream, where maybe I'll do it once a week or something, and I'll just go over shit that I can't stand in the industry and tell some horror stories. I might be doing that.
Oh, just at least make sure that you don't say anything that could get you into legal trouble. Because I know that's with me personally. I have so many work stories I wish I could share, going back like 3 jobs ago, even. But if I ever get, when I get doxxed, I mean, as an internet personality, it's only a matter of time. If I get doxxed and they can trace back who all these employers were that I was talking about, I could actually get into some deep shit if I revealed some of the stuff I want to talk about.
I hear you. Yeah. The only ones that really say names are the ones who actually screwed me over, and I have proof of it. So, but yeah, like I'm not looking to pick fights, but I want people to be aware of kind of the shittiness that goes on, in these industries. And why what we're doing is important, because we're making things better. We're making things fun again. We're doing like the old school stuff, like the Jim Shooter days when books were really amazing and why they were good.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. No, actually, no. You could balance it out. Yeah, no, that may actually be a nice 1-2 punch of a stream. You spend the first hour, say, just ranting about the shit that pisses you off. And then after you're done, say, and here's how we're doing it better.
Exactly, man. This is how we're putting the Band-Aid on that stuff. It's actually more like we're sewing back together limbs.
We're creating a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful Frankenstein monster with amazing people involved. Because, like I said, it's not just what we're doing. It's I've made some great friends out of this. On top of it, people that I know I'm going to be talking to for a long time, or that I've talked to for over a year now. Not just on the streams, but people in chat. Or they've been contacting me like through Twitter as well, or Facebook. And that's the cool thing about it. It is that personal touch that is involved in all of this. It's something that the mainstream will never have, never in a million years.
As long as the bean counters are calling the shots, yeah. And plus, I understand the value of having bean counters there, because sometimes creative people just lose track of that. But if nothing else, they need to have at least one guy who's actually a fan of the product they're producing, keeping them in check.
Yeah. It's like you said with the video games. That's why there was such a boom at that moment, because everyone was a fan, and they got off on telling these cool stories, having fun, actually putting their heart and soul into these projects. That's what I always talk about. When people come on, like, I want to hear the passion in their books that they're promoting. That's how I know it's really amazing. And you know, most times I will back the people that are on my show. It's because if I see it and I know what they put into it, or they're going through the same struggles, and you know, they just want to tell a cool story. Yeah, I'm there, you know?
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, that's with Blade Devil. That's exactly what we're doing too. Because I just got, for years, I got so sick of just complaining like about, oh, everything I love is turning to shit and they won't listen to me anymore. Mm-hmm. And I did. I mean, Ethan made a good point too about when against OGCG, where once you say, I'm not giving you money anymore, I've closed my wallet.
Yeah.
There's no point in even talking to them anymore because you're done. I mean, if you already withdraw your money and they still just flip you the bird, there's literally nothing else you can do. You've played your final card. So yeah. I was in that position where I've played my final card. I already don't. I mean, I buy a new video game nowadays, you know, not counting indie games, but like say AAA. I buy a AAA game maybe once a year now. I'm effectively out of that industry. American comics, I'm completely done with outside of Comicsgate.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, you know, okay, now I have a lot more free time. Let's just create some of the stuff that I'm complaining doesn't exist anymore.
Which I love, man. And yeah, I want you to come on my stream too, and I want to hear all about this project, because from what I've seen of it, dude, it looks exciting as hell.
Oh, I plan on it, man. I mean, especially because, I mean, right now, as I mentioned earlier, I don't have too much left to do to get ready for launch, but we're less than 3 weeks away, and the list is looking bigger the closer we get. But yeah, I'm going to be doing the rounds on a whole bunch of other. I mean, once we finally launch in March, like, oh, if you'll have me, I'll gladly come on.
Absolutely, man. It would be a pleasure to have you on there. Like I said, I love other people who are just like you, just like me. Like, we're there for it because we're real, we're genuine. I hate those motherfuckers who are so goddamn fake. Oh, that drives me crazy, you know. And I think fans could see it. They could see it a mile away, you know, on top of everything else, because we're in this day in and day out. So how you're interacting with certain people, or what you're saying when you go on streams, yeah, people are going to pick it up. They're going to see, you know, the cadence in your voice, or, you know, if you really do care about the projects that you're pushing, promoting, creating, you know. And I had this discussion too with Malin and EVS when I was on their stream, because Malin was, you know, he was adamant that Mike could come back, and I'm like, no, he can't. He can't. He's not going to come back because fans don't want him back. You know, he basically told them all off. You know, and I'm a fan on top of all this too. I back so many projects. If a creator's telling me something like that, yeah, I'm not going there. I'm never backing shit again. And you know, and I know a lot of them think that it's drama and stuff too, but EVS took my side. He's like, no, people want to see how that guy's story ends. That's the only reason why they'll tune in when he pops up, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, I do, man. And I'm in the same boat where, in general, I try to separate the art from the artist, unless the artist in particular singles me out and is like, yeah, fuck this guy, I hate this guy. It's like, okay, no matter how good your work is, I'm not buying it anymore.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. I did that with a couple of very famous people that, you know, they pretended to be friends because they wanted something, and then yeah, they throw you under the bus the first chance that they get.
Oh, yeah. I've had so many friends like that. You know, thankfully not, you know, I've had no online drama, but I'm going to talk like real life.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know those people, right? That they're always asking you for favors, and the one time you need the simplest shit, they're tripping over themselves to make excuses. Like, oh no, I'll be in the hospital that day, and then I log into Steam and I see them playing like God of War or something.
Oh God, yeah.
Really? Or no, I guess not God of War, since it's not on Steam. But yeah, I mean that was the thing. The people, oh, I'm too busy to help you out for like a whopping hour this evening, right. and they're playing Skyrim all night. Like, oh, that's what you're too busy.
Yeah, and you're always you were bending over backwards to do anything to help them, and yeah, that shit drives me insane too. That's why I like to chill with genuine people. I'll talk with cool people, as soon as I see anyone who's kind of like that, I'll keep my distance. It's like, you do your thing, I'll do my thing.
Yeah. And then another giveaway too with them is the only time they're ever talking to you is when they want something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it. The only time you ever hear from them is when they're asking for something. Yeah, I mean, just cut those people out of your life as soon as you see them.
Yeah. But yeah, and going back to like we were talking about with all these companies and how they are, that's what I love. It's the freedom we have. Because when I worked with Todd McFarlane, I was designing his figures. There's stuff that they were afraid to push through or to release because they were either too grotesque or too sexy. And like, I can never wrap my brain around it, because Todd was always the type of person that was, if someone says no, I'm going to find a way to say yes, no matter what. Because I designed like some of the Tortured Souls figures, if you remember the Clive Barker, that line. And there's a couple of them that did not get approved to become statues, actual sculptures, because they were too much. And I thought it was the grotesque nature of it, and it wasn't. It's because some of them were too sexy. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Even back then they had that, but then again, I mean, maybe since this was stuff that was more aimed at kids, I guess. I know there's still that misconception in the West that's like, oh no, the comics are for kids, cartoons are for kids, action figures are for kids. And meanwhile, in Japan, they make pornographic action figures, but not here. Yeah.
Well, that's the point too, right? I could understand if it was like a Spawn line or something, but it wasn't. It was Tortured Souls. Clive Barker does all horror stuff, and if you've seen them, like, they were like Hellraiser type things, peeled back skin, body, like organs sticking out of the, it was all kind of crazy stuff like that. And what they did, because I had one piece in particular that the face was completely like ripped off the guy, and you could see the muscle tissue and other stuff like that. They put a mask on him and they put it in the packaging like that. And this is back when like KB Toys was still around, and like that was okay, but I had two girls sewn together. That was too sexual. We can't do that.
No, see, as an anime fan, this is a problem I have with specifically America, is the fucking Puritanism in this country.
Yeah.
Like you could show somebody just getting brutally tortured to death and ripped limb from limb. Oh, that's PG-13. But if you see a nipple anywhere in that process, that is too far.
Yeah.
That's the line. That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, nature, natural things. It's like, that's where we draw the line.
Yeah, the act of creating life is banned. The act of taking it, let's celebrate that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they do. I never understood that either. I'm just like, come on. This is bullshit.
Yeah, these people have something wrong with their heads is what it is. But unfortunately, they're the majority voters. So we have to put up with them.
Yeah. It's I don't know, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's being the one sane guy in an insane asylum sometimes. Like, just the amount of reeing we get over drawings in this country is just sickening. These people need to suffer, and I say that in the sense that the only reason they can be busybodies is because they have no real problems in their life. So they're monitoring what everyone else is doing. They need to be so overwhelmed with problems that they're not concerned with everybody else.
And it's for the attention, right? They're attention whores. That Renfamous, when she came after my campaign, it's because I have too much booty. Excuse me. They put me in the same category with J. Scott Campbell. I'll take that as a compliment. I draw sexy women. That's what your problem is, dude. These people they're insane.
No, and just. All you need to do to be able to sleep well at night is remember that within the next 5 to 10 years, when the pendulum swings back in the other direction hard, you're going to be the one that's making money and they're going to be unemployed. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Because this keeps growing. This is my fastest moving campaign. Within the first week and a half, I told you we unlocked the stretch goals. So now, like I'm so proud that I'm going to have a hardcover book that's oversized for everybody. It's not just the regular soft cover or a regular trade paperback. This is a special, beautiful format, and I'm dying to hear what people think. So, like by the end of March, beginning of April, we should be going to print. So, and then fulfillment's going to happen. That's what I love about it. It's so quick, and people are relying on me, and I'm going to make sure that I get the best project for them.
Oh yeah, and this is why they hate us so much. Honestly, it's because previously we did have to be a middleman. Like before the internet, it was impossible to just give your audience what they wanted because you didn't, unless you were a millionaire or a billionaire, you couldn't afford it. You had to go through multiple middlemen, and if any of them said no, there's the roadblock. Yeah, you experienced it yourself trying to work at Marvel, for example.
Yeah,
but now. We can everybody who was rejected. See, this is what I love in Comicsgate. Like I was tweeting about this a few days ago that you got like former pros, like you and Andrew Huerta and Donald DeLay that were being rejected. I mean, John Malin Graveyard Shift was rejected by Image even. So you got all these people who tried making it in the mainstream industry and they were rejected, probably because the mainstream was afraid of, they were rightly afraid for their jobs. Like, wow, if we let people see these guys work, no one's going to hire us again.
But you know what's so hilarious about all that? You mentioned that Graveyard Shift got rejected. Through the Woods got rejected from Image as well. And to me, I really don't understand it. I walk into a comic book shop and I picked up an Image book. I thumbed through it and I saw the most pornographic shit you could imagine inside.
Savage Dragon?
No, worse than that. Well, wait, hold on. All right, I guess it's on par with that.
Yeah.
It was some black and white book. I start flipping through it and I see like this stripper on the stage. It looked like it was like a Vegas type of scene. And there's a guy who's trying to reach out to the stripper and she pulls him in. Then out of nowhere, you see a penis come out of her, then multiple ones. And this stripper was like some kind of alien, and she literally had cocks raping the guy. That got approved, but a ghost story didn't.
Now, that's fine because it was a guy it was happening to. Then it's funny.
Well, no, the thing I looked at, it wasn't even so much that. I look at it at creators because this is how it is. It's like you saw the thing with Megs got greenlit within less than a minute. That means they didn't read the story. It's because they just wanted that particular person on the book. Same thing with this one. I think it was a Howard Chaykin. Why? Because Howard Chaykin is known in the industry, so they greenlit his horrible project. This thing was disgusting.
Well, Max Visaggio is known in the industry too, but not as someone who sells books. Like that's yeah, that's they got their prior. But then again, these people who are working in the industry now, the problem is they care more about the clout instead of the money because they get paid peanuts. I could guarantee you now, you've even if you break even on Through the Woods, I think you'll make more money on that than you ever would have at Image, at least judging by what Donald DeLay said about it. It's like, oh yeah, we could sell like 5,000 copies and we get like $400 to split between 5 of us or something.
Yeah, and isn't that the sad part of all of it too? It's that whole Diamond situation, they monopolize everything. Yeah, no, I know that I'm doing better regardless because I get to tell my own story and no one could say no to me. And on top of it, the people who have gotten this, I've had, scholars read it and they'd be like, this is a great story. This is amazing. This really is entertaining. One guy did an amazing review recently. He even compared my books with some of the Scott Snyder books. He goes, and I don't even want to do that because Scott Snyder is a horrible writer compared to Frankie and Vinny. This book is a must pick up. And I was like, wow, now that's a great review.
Oh, hell yeah. And so knowing this, here's the final part of the rant I was going into about all of you guys who were pretty much rejected from the mainstream industry. Mm-hmm. How do you feel when you see these same people who are just driving the industry into bankruptcy and rejecting you, who already rejected you before, now that you're seeing success and you see them like, oh, but you'll never work with us in the industry again, as if it's a threat of any kind.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, as if it's a threat. And that was the beauty of it too, because I almost got hired at DC as well. Dan Didio wanted me on a book. He put me in touch with his other editor who was supposed to get me work. And that guy only wanted to work with the top talent. He only worked with Adam Hughes exclusively. And I was like, this is ridiculous. The guy was being a dick to me. But he was acting like a high schooler, like a jealous high school person. And I was like, this is a professional industry that he brought in other creators, other artists in this conversation that we were having. And it's like, are you fucking for real? so unprofessional on every level. Fast forward a little bit, he's one of the guys who got clipped recently, this past year, and he was asking other creators to speak up for him to get his job back. Fuck you! You got fired because you're horrible. You're just a horrible, nasty person and so unprofessional.
Yeah, and this is the same shit like when somebody who supports cancel culture and cancels other people, then it's their turn to be on the receiving end and they expect anyone. And then they look at the people they canceled. Why aren't you helping me? Aren't you supposed to be against this?
Isn't that funny? It's called karma.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's another argument I use is when it comes to fiction. I think I'm like the free speech absolutist version for fiction. It's not real. There doesn't need to be any limits. Everything is okay in fiction. Mm-hmm. And if you disagree, you deserve to be censored next, because I will stick up for the shit that makes me like sick, because I know the stuff I like is next in line if that goes away. Yeah. So I will like against pretty much any censorship, I'm sticking up for it. But then when the people who censor us are getting censored, and then they're like, well, what about what you just said? Like, well, I have nothing. See, if something that, some art that I don't like gets censored, I will say something because I could be next in line. Yeah. If the person who's trying to censor me is getting censored, I lose nothing by letting that happen. I mean, that's how you got to look at it that way. At that point, it's like two of my enemies fighting each other. Why am I going to get involved? Yeah. I'll wait until one of you kicks the crap out of the other, and I'll finish off whoever's left standing.
I like that. Just put your hands on your hips and laugh over the corpse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have no reason to help either of them. I mean, it really is just two of my enemies fighting each other. Why the hell am I going to get involved?
Exactly, man. And that's the thing too that I'm always talking about. It's like we should be, again, what did they get out of trying to shit on us, right? Trying to stop us. It's complete insanity. We're doing.
I know. I could tell you what they get though, because I mean, going back to what we were talking about earlier, these people are talentless hacks. They're only in because of nepotism.
Yep.
If people like you end up just vastly overshadowing them, they're out of a job. That's what they have to gain. They're just good. They want to be leeches on this dying industry for just a little bit longer, right. And keeping you out is how they do it.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why they. And anytime, see, because there's really two ways you can handle it. If you're doing a thing and someone else comes in and is doing it better, you can either up your game or you can kneecap them. We know which option they're taking.
Yeah. But like I said, man, we're gonna keep doing our thing, and the smart people, the wise people, they're with us, and we're just gonna keep growing. Because we got something cool. We have great stories. We're having fun on top of it. Look at this conversation. We've been on for 3 hours. It's only felt like maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Because it's cool people having a real conversation.
Man, this happens every time I have people on too. I mean, honestly, I'm like, fuck. With when Malin was on, it went like 5.5 hours, and that's just. I try to limit it to like 2 to 3. Yeah. But then, you just get into it. And every time, I mean, I'm about to end. So, all right, we could probably end right here. And then we get on an 1.5 hour long tangent. It's like, what the hell happened there? But that's a good sign,
Hell yeah, it is, man. Again, and everyone who's watching and listening, like, we're all here. We're in this together. So we're going to keep growing. We're going to have fun. And that's it, man. It's either you're with us or... you could watch the house burn down at Marvel in DC
while you're in it.
Yeah.
No, it's just like that meme with the dog in hell where everything's on fire. Everything's fine. No, this is okay. Yeah, this is fine.
Drinking his coffee.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's how it is. Oh, hey, Gun to Legend, man. Welcome back, man. Thank you for the 5. Anything to demoralize the normal guys is the thing that they find stunning and brave. Oh yeah. And see, that's another thing too. Like, you notice how, like looking at that panel they have up right now. I mean, that nice backstory shot. Like, oh no, that wouldn't fly at current year Marvel, but you can have like Wolverine shirtless or in the showers. No, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Or like we see with Sony, they're censoring all the anime games, even like the games that don't have sex in them. They're censoring all the fan service. But Last of Us 2 can have a flat out like underage lesbian sex scene in it. That's fine. Life is Strange 2, perfectly okay. But as long as but the litmus test, the metric it seems like a double standard at first. Mm-hmm. But then when you realize what they're actually doing is destroying everything straight men find attractive. If this is something that in particular a straight male would like, they do everything they can to destroy it. If a straight man finds it disgusting, they go full speed ahead.
Yeah. There's no logic to it. There's no rhyme or reason, but it's just like you said, just to try to, because you're white, you're straight. That's it. We're going to destroy what you like. Well, look what's happening now. Like fucking Birds of Prey. That movie's bombing. It bombed so hard, so terribly that they changed the name of the movie.
Oh yeah, and no, the best part is too, because everyone, even Flash said, like, yeah, the movie wasn't as bad as, it wasn't even that bad. It wasn't woke at all, really. But the way they marketed it, you wouldn't have known that. Like that was just so. Birds of Prey, the movie itself may be fine, but that is just the perfect example of a marketing fail right there.
Well, yeah, I'd say it's a little bit of both. Depends too, because like I know a friend who saw it, who's a diehard DC fan, and yeah, he liked it. But then I know someone else who just went as a moviegoer and said it's horrible, and that shit's all over the place, that SJW type stuff. So I don't know. I guess it depends how you're going in to look at it. But from what I heard and what I understood, especially with even Ewan McGregor, they made his character gay. The character's not gay in the books, but they did it because he hated women so much. It's like, I hate them so much that, I'll sleep with a guy instead. That's what the character was doing. It's like, and then because he's a man who hates women so passionately, they have to hate him. It felt like, from what I heard, that's what it sounded like. I'm like, what kind of nonsense is this?
It almost sounds like they're being homophobic. Like, are they implying that gay men just hate women?
Right. So
wow,
this is like gay bashing. Isn't that what it is? What they're doing? Harley Quinn and her Birds of Prey.
yeah. Hosemat.exe. Yeah, that's what this is. Oh man, that's you can't do this the other way.
Say again?
No, you can't do this the other way. I mean, imagine having like some radical feminist as the main enemy that just really hates men. Oh wait, we're fighting against those in real life. Oh, never mind.
And they wear blue wigs.
Yeah, see that's another thing I find. Now, just tell me if you can figure out the thought process with these lunatics, or if you think there's any logic to this at all. So they take every opportunity they can to shit on men. Like, men are evil, men are bad, men are the cause of all the world's problems. Oh, if only women did everything, we'd live in a utopia. And as they're saying this, they're turning themselves into men. They're doing they're cutting their hair short. Uh-huh. They're looking like men. They're acting like men. Why are you trying so hard to become the thing you despise?
Thank you. I've had the same conversation with people. It makes no sense. They're insane. They need professional help.
Yeah, this is what happens when you shut the nut houses down. Now the nuts are outside, and most people want to avoid confrontation, so they'll just keep kowtowing to the nuts. It's like, I could just say no, but then she'd just in my face for the next hour, so I'm just going to tell her what she wants to hear to get her to fuck off.
But you know what the beauty of it is that the mass audience, they see this, and that's why like that movie bombed. Why? Because you shovel this much of it in everyone's face. At first they go, yeah, that's probably just a little group of them. Then it's like, it's getting kind of annoying. Now it's like, they are horrible. I'm not going to support them. The mainstream audience is doing that. People who weren't in on all of this, right, or didn't really understand what was going on. When they see it everywhere and it's forced in their face, that's when the main audience snaps and they're like, no, fuck that. Where's the cool stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was what made the Star Wars failure so awesome. Yeah. Because they try to blame it's the toxic fans on the internet. That's the reason Star Wars. Okay, You realize how few people spend time on Twitter, right? I mean, these SJWs, they live on Twitter. They assume that that's real life, but the vast majority of people never even look at Twitter. Normies who are going to see Star Wars don't have no fucking clue about any of this drama, that it's even happening. Right. And even they saw it for the shit it was and didn't show up.
Right. But then on top of it, what did you just say? You said the normies who don't know, right? And they're having these interviews all over the place. Now, if a normie is watching one of those interviews and they're talking about toxic fandom and that fans are against this, what they're trying to do, what did you just do? That normie just got affected by it, going, "Wow, they just said because if I watch the movie and I don't like it, that it's because of me." Well, fuck them. I'm not going to go see that movie, right? Because, like you said, not everyone is living off of Twitter. It's a couple of groups of people fighting back and forth. And then when you double down, like you're a corporation or you're someone who's trying to release a movie like that, and you just told all the fans who don't know what's going on, and you're just in passing hearing this, you just said, I'm a problem?
Yeah, no, it's even better when they say, it's like, oh, men, it's not for you. You shouldn't see this movie, like with Birds of Prey, right?
Yeah, or Captain Cardboard. That's why I didn't see that piece of shit of a movie.
Yeah, no, they flat out tell you it's not for you and you shouldn't go see it. Then when it flops, like, oh, it's because of the men that you mean the men you didn't need and who you specifically told to stay away, and now it's their fault when they did literally what you told them to do.
Yeah. It's what it is. It's a demented form of feminism, right? It's the culture of the ones who do that, the ones who fight. It's the ones like Renfamous. They're the ones who have really fucked up issues in their heads, and they just live off of hate and negativity. That gets you nowhere in life. Gets you nowhere. Just gets you more hated and more miserable. If those people don't want to change, it's their problem. I don't have to listen to them. I don't have to watch the movies that they're promoting and pushing. And that's the beauty of it. We're in America. We have that freedom.
Yeah, the free market fixes all these problems, which is why they're trying so hard to destroy it.
Of course. And you know what? It's not going to happen. They could try as hard as they can. It's not going to happen.
It'll just go underground and become a black market next, but it'll always exist. I mean, it's just like prohibition, right? Government comes in and says no more alcohol. Everyone was like, keep telling yourselves that, you fucking idiots. Yeah. Oh, and so Gun the Legend, thank you for another 5. Like, they have no foresight to see what they are turning into, referring to the feminists. Yeah, they rip on men as they try to become men.
Yeah. I'll tell you. Funny. I think old school feminists who originally started fighting for rights and all that stuff, if they saw the ones that are going what they're doing today, they'd be against those women.
Oh no, it's the same thing. Like imagine what Martin Luther King Jr. would think if you'd see, because that was I went over this on one of my streams a few months back. That according to the SJWs, wanting to view people as individuals instead of their skin color is a sign of white supremacy. So Martin Luther King Jr., who had a dream that one day his kids will be judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin, one of the most famous white supremacists ever, Martin Luther King Jr., by current year standards.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would he think seeing that how everybody the SJWs are trying to regress us back to where you're nothing but your skin color or what's between your legs?
Right. Again, it's that form of control. They tried it in so many different ways. They tried it recently with when Obama was in office. Black versus white wasn't really sticking. So with Trump, now it's really they're doubling down on that and throwing in the gay community, and that they're trying to stir all this shit up. Why? For control. Because if everyone's fighting amongst one another, the powers that be could still run shit the way they want. It's happening in entertainment. It's happening in politics. It's happening all over the place. We're the important people who are standing up for what's fucking right and what's true. And fans are all on board because they're seeing it. We're shining the spotlight. We're showing that dirtiness in the shadows.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't even have to do anything. They're getting so crazy. I mean, like you just mentioned, the only they say they don't know about any of this Twitter drama, But then the mainstream media likes to poke their nose in there and try to fire shots at us as well from time to time. And these normies, they only see that side. And this is one of those funny situations. Like, have you ever had this in your personal life where somebody's telling? I mean, it's a he said she said type story. Like two people are having a beef. And obviously, when you hear one person's side of the story, they're gonna spin it in a way that makes them out to be the good guy. And even hearing that, you're still like, I fail to see how this isn't your fault. I'm 100% on the other guy's side after having heard only your side of the story.
Yeah,
that's what it's like with the normies. Like when every time the media comes in, we don't even have to respond to them. They do such a bad job. They're basically, I mean, they're trying to make themselves out to be the good guys, but everyone who watches them who has no experience with this sees that and is like, yeah, these guys are full of shit.
Yeah, you could spot it a mile away.
Yeah.
That's how it's been, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, and with the media in particular, too. I mean, I remember that, I mean, it's been like, was it 12, 13 years since I last had any trust in the media? And I learned the hard way because every single time, and I mean 100% of the time, that the media was talking about a subject that I actually have a lot of knowledge of, they were fucking lying. Every time. But then after like the third time that happened, I noticed, wait a minute, if the tiny fraction of the time that they're talking about something I have a lot of knowledge of, they're lying, what makes me believe they're not lying about this other stuff I don't have in-depth knowledge of?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And that's another reason why people don't even watch mainstream shit anymore. We're basically, Ethan said it too, YouTube that's prime time now. It's these live streams are prime time. Like I barely watch TV anymore. If the shit that I watch is like streaming stuff, right? You can watch it all in one shot or while you're working or whatever. Yeah, you enjoy it on your time. There's stuff where you have to tune in at certain hours and then be fed horse shit. Nobody wants that. Why do you think like Netflix, fucking HBO, all these shows, all these exclusive shows and stuff? Why are people tuning in? Why do you hear all this praise and these awards? Because it's good storytelling. People want to run away from all this horse shit that's being shoved down their throats.
Yeah, which is why the mainstream media is now trying to take over YouTube.
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm the same way, man. I mean, I cut cable like 10 years ago. Yeah, actually, I think right after Stargate Universe ended, I cut cable. So whenever Stargate Universe ended, that's when I was like, all right, now I have no reason to watch TV anymore. I just canceled. Yeah, never thought to go back.
Right. You're like, I'm good. If I hear about a cool series, I'll just watch the cool series and then move on, right?
Yeah, and especially now with things like Netflix, I mean, no one's going to put up with the like the broadcast schedule you were just talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, with these live streams, it's a little different because if you want to interact in the chat, you have to be there live. But if all you want to do is watch the stream and you don't give a fuck about the interaction, it doesn't matter if you watch it now or 2 years from now.
Oh yeah, no, totally. But what I said is like, YouTube turned into prime time for that reason, right? You could hop on the chat, you could talk, because I've been doing that as well. I hop on other people's chats just to say hello or listen to the conversation. And if I hear something cool, interesting that I have a voice that I want to throw out there, I'll type it in there. And even if whoever's hosting, if they don't see it, other people in chat see it, and when you have a conversation with them, that's how it is, man. We're in a different world completely. And I think we're all like-minded individuals and we're all having fun with this. And that's the cool thing, man.
Yeah, and we can even disagree on things too. Like, man, I think even like I had some pretty big disagreements with Malin with our worldviews. Yeah, fine. It's okay. Yes, same thing also with Drew, who did Captain Love.
Yeah.
I mean, politically, we may not see eye to eye on a lot of things, but I'm one of those people. Like, I don't care what your beliefs are, as long as you're willing to live and let live. I mean, I don't care what you believe in. Yeah. So, and that just, but judging by what the mainstream media says about us, we're alt-right Nazis that burn that put everyone in gas chambers who has even the slightest disagreement with us, and which is funny because they're describing SJWs when they say that.
Yeah, exactly.
The slightest disagreement and you're kicked out of the group.
I was going to say that. Here's the mirror. Every time they say it, I just lift up a mirror. You're saying it to yourself.
Well, on the plus side, all we have to do is wait, and eventually the people fucking with us are gonna do something to offend the mob, and then they're gonna be on the receiving end.
Yeah, we've seen that time and time again as well. They eat each other, and let them. It doesn't matter. We're on to bigger and better things. We're creating cool stuff, and that's what I give a shit about. It's like you said, it's the respect thing. If you have a disagreement with people, we're able to still have a proper conversation. It doesn't mean we hate a person. If we don't agree with those views, we're all adults here. And that's what I like about this. It's everyone I've had conversations with, I've never had one where we completely just, oh, no, I never want to hear from this person again. F off and never come on my channel. That's never happened.
Even if it did, that would still be better than some of what's going on, because that's what I don't understand about some of the drama. Because if I hate somebody, I'm just never gonna fucking talk to them. I'm never gonna interact with them.
Yeah,
I'd feel no need to constantly talk about them. It's just, if I hate you, I want nothing to do with you. Like, I'm going to mute you. I'm going to ignore you. If you're on a stream, I'm not going to go on that stream like that. I mean, that kind of stuff. Like, we'll just never be in the same place, but I'm not going to try to start shit with you.
Exactly. Because
that's just hard for some people.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Cause some people, they just want to be miserable. They love living in it. The people who have, respect towards their fellow man and woman, they're going to be able to do like what we said, either you get along, or you could apologize or not, or if you can't deal with them because you see they're completely sick in the fucking head, then you block them, mute them, whatever you got to do. It doesn't matter. Why? Because life's too short to be like that. That's what my views have always been. I rather help people, like that little girl. I rather see people smile than be miserable.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, God, we were talking about that earlier too. How the bad things you just don't dwell on it. You got to forget. And see, that's the difference between us and the SJWs. The only thing they remember is the bad stuff.
Yeah,
like for us, I think there's only one person throughout my entire life, and I'm in my mid-30s. Throughout my entire life, there's only one person. And even then, I don't even think about this guy unless it's brought up. Mm-hmm. But only one guy throughout my entire life that if I ever randomly came across him in the street again, you'll be hearing about me on the news the next day. But that's just, again, if I ever see him again, you're going to read about me in the news for sure. But outside of that, other than the few times he's brought up, I don't even think about that fucking moron.
Yeah, I hear you. And that's the way to fucking live, right? There's no need to be holding on to shit. But obviously, if someone who really hurt you or did something completely evil, Well, I said something similar about Quesada. He's like one of those type of people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But see, that's the difference between us and the SJWs, though. Like, see, what Quesada did to you, not only did he steal your work, but he robbed you of a career, basically. Oh, yeah. Like that's a pretty major affront. But these SJWs, having a slightly different opinion than them is like the worst thing ever. Like, no, you're literally worse than Hitler. I'm literally shaking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're mental, dude. They're mental. But speaking of which, I'm gonna start going mental if I don't get some sleep soon. It's been a couple of nights I've been running super late.
Oh yeah, sounds good, man. Actually, let's see, 16,133.
Wow,
awesome.
Dude, that's amazing. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone who's been listening and supporting these campaigns and all that. I mean, yeah, you guys are you're the real MVPs.
Joe Quesadilla. Yeah, man. So thanks for coming on, man. It's been a fun stream.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait when you launch your project. Yeah, man, hit me up. I want to definitely have you on. We'll have another nice, good, long conversation.
Oh, definitely. Now I'm just this month I'm trying to just finish all the stuff I need before the campaign. So by the time the campaign's in full swing, I will have all the time I need to be in like full shill marketing mode.
Beautiful, man. Yeah. I know, because I'm mixing, I'm doing freelance work, I'm still packing other things up, and I'm shilling as well and trying to do as many streams as I can. That's why I've been burning the candle at both ends for a long time now. And I'm happy things are starting to click a little bit better. As long as they keep clicking, I could push away that other freelance work and stick to the books that we need to get out there, right?
Yeah. So pay attention. Anyone who's a writer who wants to hire artists, if it's only a matter of time, man, until they get they realize they'd rather be doing their own project. So
absolutely,
pay them very well if you do that.
Hell yeah, man! Hail everybody! Hail the chat! You guys are really amazing. Oh, I saw my brother in there too.
Oh, nice.
Right. Yeah.
Wait, no, your brother actually exists. He's not. It's not going to be like just you in one of those goofy like big nose glasses. Yeah.
No, he definitely exists. He's been to conventions with me, so there's actual photo proof.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see how it is.
Yeah, he'll eventually come on. I think he even said it too. He goes, "Yeah, if our campaign hits 25,000, he goes, we'll have an interview, and people could ask him anything." And,
that should happen at this rate. Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, that'd be amazing. But yeah, he's a great guy. He's super talented and funny. I think people like him a lot. So,
awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna look forward to that then. But yeah, I'm not gonna hold you up anymore. I'll let you go get. I should probably go to sleep too, actually, even though I'm 2 hours behind you. But
okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks again for showing up. It's been a fun 3.5 hours. And yeah, just whenever you want to come on. I'm going to be doing these streams like every Tuesday now. So I'm going to try to spotlight like maybe 1 or 2 people, kind of like tonight, like every time.
Yeah.
But if there's room, I'm just going to fire these invites off to people. So
cool, man. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. Drop a link. Just let me know a little bit beforehand, and yeah, hell yeah, I'll make the time.
All right. Yeah, sounds good, man. So yeah, again, thanks for coming on. Good luck hitting the 25K, and talk to you guys later.
Thanks, man. A pleasure. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.